J Squad.
We gotta find now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. Now what do we do? That's the first clue. We gotta find the program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue. The program. That's the first clue. We gotta find. That's the first clue. That's the first clue.
Yo, what is going on? Thank you, Kamoji, for making sure I'm set to go. The sound should be better now on this stream. Sound should be better. I went back to doing OBS instead of fucking Streamlabs and having to reset everything up. So I'm probably going to start streaming on Twitch too. What I'll do is I just have to find a extension that'll let me multi-stream through there, and then we'll get it set up. I'm pretty sure I had one before, so I'll just re-find it, re-download it. But welcome to the Slop House. We've got some interesting subjects. I was wondering what I was going to cover today, and I figured this critical drinker situation uh, over the Dungeon Crawler Carl author was interesting enough to take a look at. We'll even watch a Rev video to see what he has to say about it. I mean, I think the problem is I think both people are retarded in this situation. Both people are terrible. It's not there's not like a good guy, I guess, in here. It's not that it's a good guy. It's just the statements that Denham kind of makes are are worthless and didn't need to be made, right? Um, we're also going to talk a little bit about free speech here in the beginning and what it really means when it comes to threats, because I'm so tired of these anti-wokers crying, free speech for the things they say and stuff like that. And then something happens because they break TOS. Uh, they get kicked. They say it's because of freedom of speech, when generally it's not. It's usually something that they've broken in they've broken of the TOS or other things like that. And then, but when it turns around, like they speak free speech, but when it turns around on people they don't like, they God, I got to get into the sheriff stuff too. They follow, they've completely changed. They're like, yeah, we're no longer, free speech guys, freedom of consequences guys, freedom of consequences. Isn't that what y'all say? And it bothers me, because you're either going to stick with your beliefs in it or you're not. And if not, you're a pathetic human being in my eyes. So let's get started here. I want to play some gaming today. I don't think the content's going to take that long. So if anyone has anything they want to throw in Feed the Pig, I'll look at it, because we may just do some Saturday slop content to round out this week. But we'll have to see. I know there were some videos. Let's see. Oh, speaking on aristocrat utensil, we might do this one. Gamers should speak up. Crawler Carl, yeah, Crawler Carl. I don't know. You may know who it is, Simon. I've heard of the books. I've never read them. It's that light RPG stuff. I'm not really into that genre altogether. I tried to get into it. Like, I watched Sword Art Online for a little bit. I don't even think I got past season 1. Friends have offered me books in that genre, and I just don't like the MMO style RPG gaming thing. I prefer like an actual story that's more grounded in everything else. Bro, I'm not much of a reader despite being a writer. So from what I gather from it, we're going to read a little bit. I got a Fandom Pulse article, because that really seems to be the only people that are pushing this or talking about it. But I figured I wanted to give my 2 cents in the ring. It's basically aliens took over the Earth, and now it's a massive game show, and you can level up and stuff like that. And Carl is one of the is the main character going through it. Like I said, not something I'm into. Oh. But first, we're going to talk about free speech and why I hate everybody online who talks about free speech. So, free threats and Congress. I'm looking for there was a thing I was reading about it. U.S. free speech might work. That's going to find the Wikipedia article will probably be Wisconsin versus Mitchell, sentenced to First Amendment protections, incitement. Yes. So when it comes to I used to read a lot. Then I started reading or listening to audiobooks. I still do. I'm re-listening to one of my like all-time favorite series, which is the Dresden Files. I really enjoy that series. It has like, I don't know, 20 books or something like that in it now, and the new one just came out. But I got a hair in my ass and wanted to get into it again. And I do more listening to books than I do reading nowadays. It's just hard to have time to uh, to break it down. So this shouldn't take too long because, like I said, most of this is like shitters online. Let's pull it up here. Boom! Everybody likes Mark Fox, a complete moron online. This guy doesn't do anything but say buzzwords over and over and over again, and hope you'll listen to him. Right? He is. It was. Or he's just pretty dumb. I don't know what I was trying to go with there. It's been a long day, we'll say. It's been a long day. So anyways, if you don't know, Airbag got suspended again off of line. This is something that's happened to him several times. Some of them I do think he's broken TOS, right? He does like to throw some threats around, but it's really sad that this supposed, right-wing movement, these guys that are supposed to be like the tough ones, they're the ones that'll say the slurs, they're the ones that'll do anything else. But when it comes to like threats, they're little crybabies and they go try and deplatform people, the very thing that they'll cry about when it happens to them. I'm a pretty big free speech guy. He put this down. Let's see here. No violent verbal threats are not protected as free speech under the First Amendment if they qualify as true threats. This dude was too dumb to read. Yes. I didn't read that particular article. All right. I thought you supported free speech. Listen, dummy, violent threats are not and have never been free speech. They absolutely have, and we're going to go through it today. I've been getting into the pre-Disney Star Wars expanded universe. That's a good one to get into. I've read a couple of books from there. I never got deep into it, though. There's problems I have with it, especially around the comic books and stuff like that. Like, I really hate the idea that Palpatine came back to life and Luke went to the dark side for a little bit and things like that. So there's parts that I hate about it. Like, other authors had to rewrite parts of their books because of that comic book. And I just think it was like, it's just as terrible as him coming back in the new trilogy. Like, we can make up new enemies. There's other Sith Lords. You can make a new character. There can be, there's all sorts of different things they could pull from, even lore-wise in the expanded universe to do something. But no, Palpatine came back. Durr. So let's see what he says here. I want to notice I read that first sentence out, and it mentions true threats. True threats is a very important term here. The Supreme Court has long held that true threats fall outside the First Amendment protections. These are statements where the speaker means to communicate a serious expression of intent to commit an act of unlawful violence against a particular individual group or an individual group of individuals. Seriously expression of intent. Just saying something online does not constitute a serious threat. I'm sorry. It does not. This is just him trying to make it out. And here's the thing. They like to say that like facts don't care about your feelings and all this other shit, but they're not reading the facts. One, this is an AI generated thing. And it also says he didn't read the facts, true threats. He didn't read any deeper. The government can criminalize them under federal state law. There are three main reasons: to protect people from the fear of violence, from the disruption that fear causes, and for the chance of violence actually happens. I want to point out that you put the wrong link into Discord announcements. Did I? What link did I put in? That means I probably put it in wrong everywhere. Oh, I did. Shit. Delete. Delete. Boom. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I got to fix this. I am crazy. Where did I get that link? I mean, when did I get that link? All right. Let's try this again. I probably did it on X too. Boom. Let's check it out here. No. I did the right one on X. Yeah. Yeah, and then let's check over here because I do like to post in the otters and I did the wrong one. Delete messages. There we go. There we go. There we go. So anyways, when it comes to we need to look at what a true threat is. Federal jury convicts suburban Chicago man of threatening to kill federal and state public officials. You notice he doesn't link the article. A federal jury convicted a Chicago man of making true threats to kill multiple officials. Yes, true threats. Not just saying some dumb shit on X. Fucking Mark, you pussy. So let's see here. I'm trying to find the specific one that I think is the best example because there's a bunch of them. Fighting words. So generally, where is threats? Incitement. Shtick versus United States, a landmark U.S. Marine Corps during World War I. Where was the World War II case? Shtick versus the United States, 1919. I mean, this is one of them. Bear with me. I was trying to look it up before we Supreme Court cases. Boom. There it is. Watts versus the United States. Let me pull this over. Copy. So, Watts versus the United States is probably, I think, one of the best examples that you can look at for this. There's other ones like the World War II one he's talking about, but this one I really like. One thing it says, true threats constitute a category of speech like obscenity, child porn, fighting words. People use fighting words wrong all the time too. The advocacy for imminent lawlessness. Let's see, this is Courtman versus Collett, and then Visual versus Black. Oh, does this not go through it? The Watts factor helped determine if the statement is a true threat. To be protected as a political hyperbole or jest, courts have identified what has come to be known as the Watts factor. In true threat analysis, the context of, can y'all read that? Oh, I'm reading from the wrong area. All right. Virginia versus Black. Yeah, so KKK rallies have been upheld, even though they do make threats. An anti-war protester, Robert Watts, was prosecuted and convicted for threatening President Lyndon B. Johnson. After he said at a anti-war rally, if they ever make me carry a rifle, the first man I want to get in my sights is LBJ. So right now what we're looking at is a threat against a sitting president during a wartime, right? The case went to the Supreme Court, which said that Watts's remarks was the sort of political hyperbole that did not constitute a true threat. and ruled the statute that criminalized threats against the president as unconstitutional on its face. Later, courts used the Watts factor in true threat analysis, considering the context of the threat, the conditional nature, and the reactions of the listener. Watts's case was came during a time of multiple marches and protests against the war, and as one is shown in the DC. So pretty much, this Watts threat is what, the Watts factor is what you would say using to constitute a true threat, right? It doesn't mean that you can get away with like serious threats. When we're talking about serious threats, we're talking about intent to be able to do it. How believable is it for the other person to believe that their life is in danger? And of course, they say the context of the threat. So yeah, 100%. Threats are protected by free speech. It's when they go into the realm of being threats that are believable, that are true threats, then that's when it becomes a problem. That's when you start losing your free speech rights. But I'm sorry, I don't do it online, but some retard doing a fucking hammer gif is not a threat. And if you think that's a threat, you're a fucking pussy. Well, it's not a true threat, we'll say. If you think it's a true threat, you're a pussy and you're not very First Amendment. This is why I get so irritated with retards online and why I get pissed off when people start showing off. Look at all the death threats I'm getting. Look at all the death threats I'm getting. I don't care. None of them are serious. Did the shitter post your address? Did he take a picture out front of your house and then say it? Then no. The chances of some guy coming out of nowhere and going to find you because he made a threat online is incredibly low. Incredibly low. It doesn't mean you still shouldn't do things to protect yourself, because it could happen. If you want an example of what I would consider a true threat, I'm going to give Chibi Reviews a little justification. He does absolutely has had true threats sent against him. I mean, he's had the bomb threat that never made it to him. That obviously wasn't a threat. That was someone actually trying to commit something, whether it was a real bomb or not, unhinged and illegal. But also, they've taken pictures by his grave, his brother's grave, so they know where his brother's grave is and has gone to it. They're in his, locations. They're in his area. He has a right to fear that something could happen. That is a true threat that I think could be acted upon, right? Is it going to be? Probably not, but it could be acted upon. So yes, the problem I have with Chibi is not that he is receiving true threats or that he doesn't receive threats. It's that he won't stop talking about them. So it continues, right? He wanted to, after he's received these threats, he wants to announce that he's working with the FBI so that everyone goes into hiding and things like that. Well, no, you shouldn't be doing that. You should keep it on the wraps. You stop talking about the trolls, and a lot of times it will start to go away. You don't feed them, right? That's the whole idea behind it. So this is just absolutely, a nothing statement. You have another guy, this little retard, dumb here, Lawrence Gilmer, the terrible rapper. I called him an SJW. Let's see here. So yeah, different things like that. This is dumb. Any of these anti-wokers that tell you that they're for free speech are fake, and they do not have any belief in free speech whatsoever. They're just like the far left movement from back in 2016. They just want people offline that they don't like. So there's that. I get to where I have to bang on about freedom of speech because I do think it is a very important part of Well, my thing says way higher than I actually have. Um, I do think that it's important. I think it's one of the most important things that you have when, free speech doesn't work. We have the Second Amendment to go at it. The first thing should always be to talk. People don't doing that anymore because our government has completely abandoned the Constitution in lieu of doing whatever the fuck they want. And the power has been taken away from the people. So, we'll go on there. But these guys are all absolute losers. All absolute wastes of space, we'll say. But we'll get to talk to them more, or we'll get to talk about them more. So, anyways, bear with me here. Boop. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see here. Hold on, bear with me. Dum, bum, ba, da, ba. What do you say? I recently got Wedge's Gamble, second book in the X-Wing series from 1996 at half price. Books for $4.50. Also has the author's autograph. That's freaking awesome. That was my dad's favorite series when I was growing up. I remember playing the X-Wing game, or not, well, X-Wing 2, but the X-Wing games that came out. The very old one, and then the ones that were actually based off of the book. Well, loosely based off of the book. Mm-mm-mm. There we go. There we go. So anyway, I saw this little blurb about, the critical drinker and Carl stuff. Started looking into it a little bit. It's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's kind of like also a nothing burger. It's just I have some problems um with the way what was I gonna say? With the way he handled this. Like really just didn't need to say anything. Let's see here. Free speech supporters who block me would include Kirsch, no idea why. Chrissy Mayer, I don't know who she is, for making fun of her friend Star Wars Theory. Let's see, who has blocked me? Endymion, Hypnotic, Smash at one point, and then he unblocked me and muted me. Jay Viper has now blocked me. So yeah, these guys are all weenies when it comes to free speech. Mm-hmm. People need to like one of my criticisms going back to like the 2016 era and the idea of hate speech in general is I hate speech, like people getting their feelings hurt by words, and is fixable to a certain point, right? The sticks and stones argument is bullshit. Words can hurt. This is what I tell my kids, and is like words can hurt. They absolutely can hurt. Something that someone says at some point in your life is going to hurt your feelings, right? You don't understand why I'm blocked by all of them and you're not. Well, I mean, I hit pretty hard when I first came into the anti-woke circles. So some of them but they also can sure aggro the shitters. Yeah, that's true too. But here's what I tell like my kids and stuff like that is like absolutely words can hurt your feelings. But you as a person get to decide how much they hurt. I was like, you need to sit down and think about it, you know, and like is this a meaningful statement that they said? And is it, you know, is it worth your time getting hurt over it? You know, I remember my oldest daughter came to me and it was like maybe I am doing something right as a parent kind of moment, and she said that her cousin had called her a bitch. And she said, oh, Dad, at first, you know, that kind of hurt me, but then I remember what you said about, you know, it's just a, you know, having resilience to that word. And you know what, it didn't really matter that she called me a bitch because I know she's wrong. And you know, she said it out of anger. And I was like, I was really proud of that moment because she had stood up and said like, hey, that resilience may be getting through to them. Like, you get to decide. I have, you know, everyone has things that are going to upset them at some point or another. You just have to build up that tolerance to it. It's like doing anything else, whether you're working out or doing anything like that. So words can hurt. A good example across the river from me is Nick Sandman, the Covington kid. I don't know anything about that one. About that, maybe you can fill me in. So we're buzzing through this drama too quickly. We're buzzing through all the slop too quickly. I have to find something else. I have to find more slop. Let's see here. So, boop. This is where, like, I lightly saw this, like, going on, and I considered just not covering it at all, because really it's just, like, shitter drama. He's the smirking MAGA hat kid. Oh, hold on. Nick Sandman. Oh, yeah! Uh, I never really saw anything more than anything. Like a good example across the river from me is the Nick Sandman kid, where yeah, he just smirked and smiled. He didn't really say anything. Is that what you're getting at? I know he went on Fox News later. Oh, NBC Covington Catholic High School controversy. I didn't look at this stuff up. I might have to read on this. At this time, I would like to release that NBC and I have reached a settlement. The terms are confidential. Yeah, I didn't watch much further into that one. I'll have to read into that. We're gonna. That's something for me to look up later. Oh. Uh, this little retard. Mm, this little retard. He came back at me. Uh, mm, we're gonna be gay. We're gonna be really gay right now. Also, the fire thing, like yelling, it's not illegal to yell fire in a theater. Uh, whatsoever. I know I spelled that wrong. So there's this is a widely thought of myth that it's illegal to yell fire in a theater, and it's not. It's not illegal to say fire or yell fire in a theater, right? If there's an actual fire, are you going to arrest the guy who yelled fire? No. Is it being said in a way that is threatening? It goes down to that thing of there's nuance, right? If you are actively trying to cause a panic, right? If you're actually trying to cause a panic by yelling fire, it's not. It's is boom. It is not automatically illegal to yell fire in a theater. Now, this is just the AI slop. Yelling fire in a theater becomes legally problematic. So, this is the AI generation. Yelling fire in a theater is not automatically illegal, but intentionally causing panic or harm through a false alarm can lead to criminal charges. That's where the misdemeanor comes from. Why is my shit all jacked up? There we go. Yeah, at most places they kick you out, right? They're not gonna. The way you're going to get that misdemeanor is if people are actually injured, and then it might go further than a misdemeanor. Disorderly conduct is how it can be done. Criminal endangerment or inducing a panic, false reporting of an emergency, involuntary manslaughter. Someone dies from a stampede results. Yelling fire in a theater is not illegal. It depends on the context of what's happening with it. This came around, like you hear this fire in a theater thing, and do you actually know like where it comes from? It comes from back in the day when theaters were catching fire regularly. They were death traps. Bear with me here. And there was precedents that was done. It was here is shouting fire in a crowded theater is a popular analogy for free speech or actions whose principles propose to create panic, and in particular speech or actions which may for the reason be thought to be outside the scope of free speech protections. The phrase is a phrasing of dictatum. What is that? Legal writing, dictatum, Latinum, dicta is a statement of it may or may not be binding and precedent. Okay. So the Supreme Court case was this Schicht versus United States. In the 19th to early 20th centuries, panics caused by false shouts of fire in crowded theaters and other venues were not uncommon. Most notably, the Canonsburg Opera House disaster of 2000. Oliver Wendell Holmes. I haven't read into the Oliver Wendell Holmes one. Yeah, the Icarus fire in Chicago, 1903. The problem was widespread enough that a person falsely shouting fire became a stock character in popular writing, representing the examples of foolish or villainous behavior. Laws were enacted in some jurisdictions to protect the public from such panics, such as the Indianapolis Municipal Court of the 1917, which made it illegal to cry out false alarm of fire in any church, public area, theaters. It is first known for using the analogy in context of freedom of speech occurred during 1918. Eugene versus Debs. Debs was charged with violation of the Espionage Act of 1917 for an anti-war speech he delivered in Canton, Ohio. Historian infer that Orders as well as read Wetz's speech while preparing his opinion in the dub. See, this one is one I don't know much about. Now he speaks. Where is it? In his closing arguments, Debs offered that as his sole legal defense that his speech was protected by the First Amendment. Federal prosecutor Edwin Wetz then argued in his closing rebuttal, now he speaks about the Constitution of the United States, giving him the authority to do what he did at Canton. The Constitution provides that there shall be no abridgment of free speech. It is true. Yet it is a fact that a man in a crowded auditorium in a theater who yells fire and there is no fire and a panic ensues and someone is trampled to death may be rightfully indicted and charged with murder. And many it may be convicted and sent to the electric chair for making such an outcry. According to his theory, the man could go into a crowded theater and even into this audience and yell fire when there was no fire and people get trampled to death. He would be punished for it because the Constitution says he has the rights to free speech. Historians infer that Oliver Wendell Holmes read Welch's speech while preparing his opinion in the Debs state's case, adopting the analogy in the stick case. The stick case. Holmes' writings for unanimous court ruled that it was a violation of the Espionage Act of 1917 to dispute flyers opposing the draft during World War I. Holmes argued that this abridgment of free speech was permissible because it presented a clear and present danger to the government. And then he wrote, the most stringent protections of free speech would not put a man falsely shouting fire in a theater and causing a panic. The question is, in every case, is whether the words are used in such a circumstance and are in such a nature as to create clear and present danger that will bring about the substantive evils that Congress has the right to prevent. So this is like the statement. This is a weird time to program. Yeah, we just went down a rabbit hole of like the freedom of speech. So it started with people crying about this freedom of speech that so and so. Okay, my thing is all jacked up. We're fixing this right now. It's all about context and what happens with it, right? You can yell fire in a theater because if the law said that you can't yell fire in a theater and you yelled fire when there was a fire and you got a misdemeanor for that, or worse, you got a felony because people trampled each other, it would make a lot of sense. There's also a lot of situations where you could use the word fire, right? In those texts. It's all about how it's presented, what makes it free speech or not. But this statement is kind of widely like used as the reason for it. The most stringent protections of free speech would not protect a man falsely shouting fire in a theater and causing a panic. The question is, in every case, is whether the words used are used in such circumstances and are of such nature as to create a clear and present danger that they will bring about the substantive evils that Congress has the right to prevent. So obviously this wasn't used in a case of a fire. It was used later to try and, say I shouldn't go to jail for a disaster because it is free speech. But yeah, it's people don't understand the law. I'm even a shithead when it comes to it. Like this portion of free speech, I haven't read enough into to go to it. But just to say that yelling fire is not protected by free speech is dumb. Just like it's dumb to say threats are not protected by free speech. There's nuance to it, and a lot of things absolutely are protected by free speech. So dumb here doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. I'll get this off because I can do this later. So yeah, sorry. But that's how it goes. Eh. Sorry, hold on. Huh? No, no, no. I'm not trying to speak. I'm just pulling up multiple things and doing some stuff here. I'm also answering that that tweet. Mm-mm-mm. All right. So critical drinker, we all know is a shithead. He is a terrible movie reviewer. Um, but recently, I guess a these fucking people, man. I'm sorry. These fucking people. This retard here. Does anyone know who this shitter is? So this guy blocked me after I sent this post in, right? Before I could answer to it, he blocked me. This is like the second person that's done it today in these little weenies groups. Facts don't hurt about a brony, not surprised, right? Facts don't care about your feelings. I'm sorry, bud. I'm sorry threats hurt your feelings, but the vast majority of them that are made online are free speech. Get over it, move on, ignore them. All right. Now let's get to critical drinker, right? So I believe this is the first post. Oh no, no, this is the response post. So this is the first post that it looks like came out. There is a article we'll go through too. Uh yeah, I'm sad Egad's not here yet because he writes for Fandom Pulse from time to time. So Dungeon Crawler Carl, which if you don't know, for anybody who might be just coming in and things like that, is a light RPG. Usually these light RPGs are a series of books where someone gets sucked into a video game. If you want an anime version of it, Sword Art Online is kind of where it goes. It's not always a video game. From my understanding of Dungeon Crawl Carl and the little bit that I've read while I was looking up this stream, it's more of a yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm gonna probably end up doing. um, with the Crawler Carl, it's like aliens come and take over and turn the whole world into a giant game, survival game kind of thing. And that's where you can like level up and do things like this. I'm not a big fan of the genre. I've had a couple people try and get me into it, and I've tried to read them. I just can't. I tried to watch Sword Art Online. I really couldn't. It just kind of wasn't my kind of books. Drinker's Oscar vid from last year had a weird point where he was calling out the woke, but referred to Ukraine with the Russian term and completely ignored that Palestinian movie won an Oscar. I don't generally watch the Oscars, so I missed that. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me with these anti-woke guys. I can explain the whole series to people. Do you want to jump on and explain it real quick before we get in? If you do, jump into waiting room, and we'll get you in there. We'll get you on. It's but so anyway, the writer's name Matt Dennyman admits he inserted left wing propaganda. This is Phantom Pulse, so we're gonna have to take it with a grain of woke to filter out some of the anti woke so we can find the truth, right? Dungeon Crawler Carl, do you like those light RPGs, Vincent? Are those like a series you're into? Left wing politics propaganda into his book that have now been picked up for streaming. A show by Seth MacFarlane. So here's my problem with this whole like left wing political propaganda thing is there is areas where I think there has been left wing political propaganda, or at least left wing. Give me a minute to mic up. Yeah, sure thing, bud. Left wing like idea. There's a difference between left-wing propaganda and people putting their views into a book. Can it be preachy and completely dumb sometimes? Absolutely. Usually self-inserting stuff into a book doesn't go well, at least not in the stuff that I've read. But every book is going to have some of what you do into it. UFC is wrapped up. Now I'm ready to play Dinosaur on the Isles and watch. Hell yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's anytime, like, it's gotten to the point that anytime someone puts their left-wing views into and even right-wing views at this point into a book, it's political propaganda, or it's just evil and wrong and things like that. And it's like, fine, it's not the book for you, but they have a right to put it in and see what people buy and look into. And Dungeon Carl has done very well for itself. I think in the article it'll tell a little bit more about it. So you're rather picky with the light RPG books. That's fair. Like I said, I haven't read really any of them that I've been able to pick up for a long period of time. In fact, when I pick up a book to read, if I read the like, I was pulled into a video game, or so and so was, just a normal kid with no girlfriend, and he got sucked into a video game. I usually turn it down. That's just not my kind of fantasy. I get why people could like it, because it usually turns into that power fantasy ideal that people enjoy. Uh, on my previous comment, it's so funny to see Antiwokers completely refuse to touch or acknowledge the whole Israel-Palestine thing in favor of comfort topics like there being diversity and whatever. Yeah, I have no problem with you not touching the Israel-Palestine thing, but if you're going to be political and you're going to be like pro, right wing, left wing, yeah, maybe you should say something about it. But I mean, most of them don't. Like, I'm not going to go get my opinions from an anti-woker on games. Why would I get my opinions from them on Israel Palestine, right? So anyway, he says, yes, Dungeon Crawler Carl is highly political. Denneman wrote, it is a major theme of the books, and frankly, as soon as Operation Bounce House comes out, I suspect it's going to be even more painfully obvious where I personally stand on a whole bunch of subjects. This is some kind of ritual. Is this some kind of ritual for Hollywood? Yeah. um, Man, I am losing my train of thought today. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, hold on. Vincent's coming on. So Vincent, why don't you tell us a little bit, Vincent, about light RPGs, buddy?
Okay, call me a nerd, but it's lit RPGs. Literature
is it
RPGs
lit?
is how it's pronounced. Sorry, I
Oh,
war. Okay, Matt Dinneman. Okay,
I'm gonna call
basically,
it light from
hell, I
now
even
on
have
just
a.
to annoy you.
I fair enough, fair enough. I even have a video trying to plug this fucking series to people. That's rare for me. It's back there, but basically, yeah, normal guy, 27. It's actually Into the World. It's not pulled into RPG. Aliens
Yeah.
attack. Dude just broke up with his girlfriend. Hell, she cheated on him, so he broke up. Ultra Chad sort
So
of guy.
sad.
So he's smoking around the house. But her stupid prize winning cat jumps out the window. He goes get it. Basically the world ends. Very the end of the world.
Mhm.
he's out in Seattle during winter. A stairway opens up, so he does this sort of. It's like survival series. You go through 18.
Yeah.
The premise of it is you go through 18 floors down. RPG mechanics, yes, but it's set up by fish aliens. I actually recommend the series. It's definitely hard to get into the first book, but if you can get through the first book, you're golden because he has good pace. And hell, I even reviewed Critical Drinker's last book, and I would say it's leagues beyond Dark Harvest. So I'm definitely a book nerd. Hell, even Andy Weir's someone I rep. So this is just weird to me. Operation Bound House, not as good, but it's okay. It is okay.
Oh, so
but yeah,
Operation
the
Bounce
like
House has
dungeon.
already come out.
Yep, it came out. I do Audible. It's easier to get through it.
Yeah.
You can listen to it on the move. It's good enough. Okay, I can see the sort of parallel with fucking the Israel Palestine thing, but it's not even close to direct. It's just like a super over the top version. Pretty much think of Helldivers version of the Israel Palestine thing, and it makes it definitely makes fun of streamers. So if anyone went through that, there's like the whole bunch of streamers who come in to do the bidding of their version of Super Earth. It's actually not a bad book. Not as good as not as good as Dungeon Crawler Carl, because that's a series that builds its characters up. You'll find them annoying at first, especially Donut, because she gets a pet biscuit, and she's pretty much she's actually a racist white woman, one of these racist Karen types of people. She'll get on people's nerves from the start, but I think the characters are well done, and it grows on you like a fungus. So
Okay.
I mean
That's just the gist of it.
I could go on, but let me not.
No. We'll keep going. And so yeah, it's it's a very popular book. I know that. I see it freaking everywhere.
Yeah, it's got a webtoons there's a couple of versions of it. They have a webtoons version. I'm gonna mute and pull that up. Maybe not for stream, but just in general, I'm gonna link it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, link it to me, and I'll take a look at it. I will take a look at it. So anyway, Drinker responded. Oh, actually, I think at this point we'll go into. Well, maybe Drinker did respond in this, calling him an edgelord douchebag. So Critical Drinker responded. The Critical Drinker responds to Dungeon Crawler Carl, author Matt Denham, personal attacks against him. LOL. It's interesting since he was very excited to work with me. Claimed to be a big fan when it benefited him. Now that he's trying to break into TV, suddenly he's filled with regret. Good luck sucking all the Hollywood dick, buddy. Hope it was worth it. Did Denham sell out to Hollywood? I personally think Denham shouldn't have said shit about any of this. Like it's a nothing burger. So you don't like a guy that you worked with in the past. Who gives a fuck? Right? It's, and even Drinker's response is like, you were okay with me. Well, he could change his mind, right, on that in particular if he actually watched him at all. I don't know that whole situation. Now, I think there's a lot of buyer's remorse on that, on a lot of these shitters. Nothing to do with the switch up from what's expected. Yeah, I agree with that, especially with the kind of the fall of the Antiwokers, where they're all having to gather further into these groups. Didn't
I link in your Feed the Pigs section pretty much his Reddit post that everyone's pulling this from? That's like 2 years ago, unless there's something new.
Was it 2 years ago that this is just now coming up from?
It's like the video that I pulled this from is 11 months, and he's looking at a Reddit post that's 9 months. I didn't do too much research on it, so that's about 2 years where he made this Reddit post, unless there's something new that came out, which I don't think it is. This seems like beyond a nothing burger. This seems like inventing something out of
I
nothing.
didn't.
Hey, what's up, guys?
see-
Rev
oh,
here.
This is,
So this
Yeah.
video is going to be a bit of a follow-up to...
this is Revs from 4 hours ago. Was there another one you sent?
No, it's the image. It's the image above.
Oh, it's
the
the
link
image.
to that.
Yeah. hold on,
Okay, I
uh,
didn't bother linking fucking John Delarosa's fucking video. I just
oh,
did the
this is Rev's
screenshot.
video. Oh, John Delarosa's
Sorry.
video. Got it. Boom. So,
Sorry about that. Yeah, you can.
all right.
Yeah,
So this is on John Delarosa's video. Holy shit.
11 months ago,
okay.
people.
Yep. So I rarely comment on this sort of thing for the record. I don't see the other thread in question at all. But if one of the mods removed it for whatever reason, then I support their decision 100% because the mods are my people. And I support my people. That said, we don't regularly delete threads outright unless there's a compelling reason. Criticism of me or the books or Jeff. So this is his Denham's account then. The books or Jeff is not nor ever will be a compelling
Jeff is the
session.
audiobook. Jeff is the audiobook narrator. So
Oh, okay. We're all big boys wearing our big boy panties, and we can take it. But if a thread turns into some sort of political fight, then we're going to lock it because that's not why any of us are here. I mean, I can agree with that. There are plenty of places on Reddit and the internet as a whole where you can uselessly shriek at each other and not even get close to changing each other's minds about what you're trying to say. I know, but that part is fun. I regret that my books have an association whatsoever with him. I hope one day to have his part in my book removed. Yeah, this is in the dungeon crawler, the Phantom fandom post. So this looks like it is from a while ago. Altogether, it's a distraction, and only edgelord douchebag I want people to think of when they read my books is the AI itself. To expand slightly,
yes, the
sometime in the early
AI is weird.
2000s.
The AI is a complete douchebag.
Gotcha.
And
I like
Critical Drinker's voice role is actually rather bad. Okay, he
Is
just
it?
sounds like himself.
Not a
Maybe
big
it's
voice
just
actor.
because the high quality of the other voice actors is so on par, and he just sounds like himself. But he's playing a drunken dwarf NPC who eventually gets killed by fire ants. So you want to hear him die from fire ants? That would be a plus.
Did I miss the second paragraph? Oh, I see. The question I did skip it. Dyslexia. Thank you, Nasmir. The question on the Critical Drinker's role in the book. Book 3 has come up several times already. I've been asked about it point blank a few times at cons as well. I try to avoid talking politics, etc., outside the book itself because I think it's dumb for artists to turn attention away from their art and to shine the spotlight upon themselves. Though I think if people actually read these books along with any of my other works, nothing about anything I'm about to say will come as a surprise. Then he says we've got they expanded to expand slightly. Sometimes in the early 2000s, while we were prepping book 3 for audio, Jeff asked me if I'd like to get a guest voice for the drunk dwarf guy. He knew a popular YouTube reviewer that was a Scottish guy whose persona was a drunk Scottish guy, and I said sure. I had no idea who he was, but I figured some guy with, at the time, 500k subscribers or so could only help the series along. Back then, he was mostly known for his funny and sarcastic reviews of movies. He wasn't known as a person he is today. Clearly, if it was asked of me today, I would have declined. I mean, kind of, I guess, a basic statement. He's making, his...
It's not worth the baggage. And pretty much there's a line in the book where Donut starts talking about politics, and the main character's like, we don't talk about politics. Besides, we're too stupid to actually know about politics. So why talk about it?
But they do talk about it.
That's literally in the
whole
book.
woke
I
movement,
find that funny.
Yeah.
It's not a woke, well, I can see how the anti-woke could see it as woke. The main character is a rather manly guy, but there's a whole bunch of strong female types in it. But they're well done. They're well constructed.
Right, right. Which happens. Like there have been strong female characters since the beginning of time.
Yeah,
Now they're
and
just
it's
all
super powered, okay? They're
yeah.
superpowers, okay? They're in a lit RPG.
So yeah. Yeah. So the light genre is a huge one on Amazon. So when was this written? This was written recently? Yeah, April 6th. So this just now came to light, I guess. Seems kind of old to be trying to dredge up this drama from a book that's
No,
already
he's
come
pushing
out.
it again. He did it on his channel, and now that he gets announced for Seth MacFarlane is adapting his series along with the Andy Weir bullshit, which I'm also a fan of Andy Weir, okay?
Yeah.
I like his books better than the movies, but I
So
also
when
don't
did
really like
it
Matt
get?
Damon.
I like doing the research on these on stream, even if no one else does. So when did it get announced that he was getting the TV show?
I think just a couple days ago. Just a couple days
So
ago.
then what do his statements have to do with it if this was from 2 years ago? Right? Maybe it was in the
Nothing.
works from 2 years ago, but it doesn't make any sense that this was
Yeah.
him prepping for Hollywood
It's
or whatever the fuck you
John
want to say.
Delarose spinning his bullshit
Yeah.
narrative,
Did
twisting
John write
shit.
this one?
Who knows? He doesn't even put the writer on most of these. Go look
He
up at the
just-
writer. You can't find the writer.
Well,
It could be AI.
So when EGAD writes, his name is up there
Okay.
when he writes. So it does happen, but I guess it depends on the person. But this one is just randomly fandom.
It's either AI or John, I'm guessing.
Well, if it's John, it is AI.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
Before he talked to Smash JT, I think he was making fun of another author. Author I don't like. But Cornell, if you know, he does the Monster Hunter series. He had an AI do Cornell's voice, and he was showing off I think either Smash JT was already on the stream. I think he was, and he was showing off AI to him. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, continue.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I mean, this just seems like such a nothing burger. Even more now, knowing that this is all from like a year ago, or what, 2 years ago, right? As Dungeon Crawl Karma becomes a success, the Critical Drinker was brought in for a brief bit along with the celebrity voice actors in the third installment of the audiobooks. So this is the part of the article. While he keeps saying he doesn't like to wade into politics, clearly he's lying as he signals how he despises oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, this is probably written by fucking JDA. He despises the Critical Drinker because of political reasons. Did he? Hold on.
It's clear that people have been asking on the Reddit, even in the Reddit post. It's clear that people have been asking about it, and he doesn't want to talk it. But he's like, this is the post where I'll talk about it. Done after this. That's the impression I get from that post.
Yeah, I try to avoid talking points of myself. I regret that my books have association with him. Sometime in the early 2000s, preparing for the book. He just says he doesn't agree with his content. Like, that's not him making, like, you saying you don't like his content, you don't want to get involved with the political stuff, you don't like the person he is not making a political statement necessarily. You could even say that you don't like his politics, sure, who gives a fuck? But this isn't some like signal boosting that he doesn't like it. This reads as someone who keeps getting questioned in his Discord, and he made a statement. Denham doesn't give any specific examples of what he found offensive about the drinker, but name calls and bashes like a standard cancel pig leftist. Yeah, this is definitely JDA, while trying to act morally superior. When did he act morally superior? He does name bash him, but that I don't really care about. Name bash whoever the fuck you want.
Yeah, edgy douchebag. Whoa,
Yeah.
What a fucking insult.
Yeah, what a fucking name bash, right?
Worst thing. Goddamn.
Let's see here. The kind of can't
In the
see
back.
here. He's going into cancel culture bullshit again. This kind of cancel culture is still happening. What is he canceling? There's no fucking canceling here, JDA. You just like to use the
Well, he's
buzzword
saying if he
canceling.
redid the books, he would eliminate that, but they are actually redoing the books, and they probably won't
Yeah.
invite Critical Drinker to do that part again. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's eliminating the character. He's just sounding like he doesn't want his voice in the books. Fine. He doesn't want his voice in the books. He has
And
it
look at it. It's
redone.
2020. They're drudging something up 6 years that happened close to 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That sounds like a SJW tactic to me, looking up over a decade old tweet and try to shame someone for having a different opinion.
Yeah, and this isn't cancel culture. They're not trying to take Critical Drinker's job away. They're not trying to deplatform him on any sort of level. He just doesn't want to associate with him in his book. He has a right to not want to associate with Critical Drinker in his book. Now that
Freedom
he
of
has some problem with
association.
it. Yeah. As it's only
Okay. These
occurred
guys
within
don't
the
care about
last
rights,
year.
it seems like. Well,
Yeah.
of course this guy does. If it's
no, he
JDA.
JDA doesn't care about freedom of speech. I think he would be pretty open about that, just because he is more of that like really overly Christian idealist who would rather get rid of anything that's not within the ideals of his Christian sect, right? That's kind of who JDA is, or at least who he promotes himself to be online. This kind of cancel culture is still happening, blah, 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 last year. And one would think people like Dennyman would learn that it doesn't go well when engaging in this behavior. You're a fucking moron for saying any of this. This is a bullshit paragraph. As most of his audience is likely white, male, and anti-woke, given the genre he writes in. Says who?
Bullshit.
Yeah, this book is like super popular.
Yeah. I thought it was weird at first, but it got recommended to me. Again, it's one of those series that on paper sounds horrible. But I felt that way about Full Metal Alchemist. Brother loses his arm and the other brother gets stuck into a suit of armor. Alchemy, magic, it sounds stupid on paper. Gruff guy goes into a world dungeon to fight for his life with his pet cat, show cat. Ex-girlfriend's ex-show cat. On paper, sounds stupid. Isn't going to be for everyone, and it's gruff and tough. There's no actual lesbian relationships in it that I can see so far. They make jokes about lesbian relationships, like the cat is super racist. It's hilarious, but it's against Cocker Spaniels, okay? And Carl's always like, stop. What, you don't like Cocker Spaniels either? She's actually trying to get people to genocide the Cocker Spaniels. Oh, God. Sorry. It's funny the way they do it.
That's fine.
It did.
Dungeon Crawl Carl remains a huge success, but it appears that as it gets more mainstream love, Dennyman and his more inclined to take the ticket and sell out over politics, like many who get into that position. This just pissed me off. Like
this is a conspiracy theory. This is a straight up conspiracy theory. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts, and people are promoting this conspiracy theory. But what's new?
Yeah. Yeah, this book is like touted as like it's like in the top 10 like all-time fantasy series or something like that. It's kind of crazy.
Probably
what's happened with this book. How long has this book been going? Like how many years has he been writing these books? He's got 3 Dungeon Crawl.
Yeah, it's been a while.
6 sequels were American author Denim. It's initially self-published via online publisher Royal Roads. It and its 6 sequels were acquired by Ace Books in 2024. The series follows Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut. As of December 2025, the first 7 books have sold over 6 million copies And there are plans for a television adaptation, graphic novels, audio programs, a card game, and a tabletop role-playing game. Yeah, I think this book went mainstream in 2024, but probably even before that, like it was selling so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just getting
And,
mad for mad's sake.
yeah. This is just like insane.
Mm-hmm. And just bringing this back up because he was in, because he's getting a TV show that he sold out. You're right. It's
Well,
complete
I
fucking
think
bullshit.
it's because of the Andy Weir sort of angle that they took. Another
Yeah.
author that I like, and they wrote they do the whole thing. They get him to say something, then when it causes complications for him, he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I said that. People are spinning it out of control." They all act outraged that pretty much they. I think it might have been Phantom Pulse who push that sort of idea. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like, don't bend the knee. Andy Weir, he's a nerd. He's a real nerd. Okay. I've
Mhm.
seen him do other interviews way before his movie. Critical Drinker just interviewed him and actually probably caused more trouble for him. But
Yeah.
he probably won't care. Andy
Well,
Weir.
I mean, when it
I
comes
don't
to
know the
like
guy.
JDA, his hate for things is just out of this world like crazy.
Well,
the stupid stuff
do
he
you know
comes up
anything
with.
about JADA's history? He got called
I don't know a
racist
lot.
and sued WorldCon. He
Oh,
has
I
a
do
hate
know
boner
something
for a
about that.
lot of these people.
Yeah.
I can understand him hating people like the person who did sort of a really bad review of Project Hail Mary,
Mhm.
who was like the president. I did a video on it, and she did a really horrible sort of framing job. But that's besides the point. And who does he really have a hate boner? Stasi, which I can agree with. Stasi's a douchebag and not that great of a writer. But
that happens. Where
I think he was even pushing the Daniel Green. No, sorry, go on.
Yeah, did JDA actually
Yeah, he sued
win?
WorldCon and
Did he
actually
win?
won for slander.
Okay.
Yeah, he won. Okay, because they
That's
called him
crazy.
racist.
They probably settled
But he's
then. It's probably what happened. They did
probably.
Mm-hmm. All right.
He's still banned.
Oh yeah. He can't make them they can't legally make them decide that he can come to it. So, all right, let's see here.
It's going to be a bit of a follow-up to
Probably doesn't have. Oh, this is the first one. Let's watch some Rev.
something I covered a few days ago, where we had this very interesting collision of parties, including Hollywood, multiple franchises, and YouTubers as well. Today we're going to be looking at the continued attacks on the author of Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir, who's being called out not
I have become very fond of that word as an American. I think it's great to learn a new word like nonce.
only by activists on social media for his...
If you want me to join along, you might want to screen share so I'm not listening half a second behind.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just kick you out. Who knows? Who knows?
That's fine too. Okay. You know Rev as well. Well, you should kick me out and invite Simon in.
That's true. I haven't seen Simon though, so he might be doing something else.
He's probably working.
Yeah. Kick Vince. Nasmir said it, but
Okay.
sorry. You gotta
I'm
go.
getting out
Ban
before
Simon. Oh, let's go. All right, ban Simon. We're banning Simon. Let's do it. Let's go. Participants. Simon. Ban. No. You didn't kick me. I left. Oh, that's as bad as you didn't fire me. I quit. Are you that kind of ex too, where you come in and you go, "Oh no, I broke up with her," but really, she left you on the side of the road for your best friend, and then when you went to your other friends, they sided with your best friend who took your girlfriend, your fiance? Are you one of those kind of people, Vincent? So anyway, we're going to watch some Rev and see what Rev has to say about the situation. and go from there. Like I said, this is already complete bullshit, so I'm sure Rev has very nuanced takes on this entire thing.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So this video is going to be a bit of a follow-up to something I covered a few days ago.
No. Wait, are these the same? What happened? Okay.
Something I covered a few days ago, where we had this very interesting collision of parties, including Hollywood, multiple franchises, and YouTubers as well. Today we're going to be looking at the continued attacks on the author of Project Hail Mary, Andy Weir, who's being called out not only by activists on social media for his non-political views, but also we're going to be looking at the continued cancellation of him because of his association with YouTuber Critical Drinker, who's being attacked on.
Okay, it's pretty clear that Rev hasn't read into any of this content, considering this was over a year ago. Like, they what does he mean? He's like openly being attacked. Maybe some people said stuff to him, sure, and he got tired of asking the questions and hearing it from people. Sure, it's gay that everyone was bringing it up to him. I don't care where you settle. If you're a grown adult and have a little girl as your VTuber avatar, I don't like you. Agreed, Nazmir. Agreed. There's something seriously wrong with you mentally if you do this.
On multiple fronts here by soy boy YouTubers trying to call him a chud that is cancer to work with. But also he's getting canceled from authors like this on your screen right now, who are trying to basically stab him in the back after having no problem working with him in the past because they want to impress Hollywood and gain virtue signaling points by doing so. But where did all this begin? Well, it started about 2 weeks ago when there was an announcement regarding Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which will be ending with its second season. This surprises nobody. This was an incredibly woke and just terrible show that cared way.
It was probably just because it was a terrible show. It didn't look like anything that I wanted to watch. Maybe it was over preachy. Who cares? Don't watch it.
Way more about owning the chuds than
I don't know how it started there, but here we are.
Providing entertaining content. And people in response to this were blaming everything but the showrunners themselves and the act.
Ahmed Baba. Who is this guy? Oh, I can't even pull up his account. Oh, because I didn't spell it right. Ahmed Baba. This guy's bigger. Journalist, political. Oh, I see. He's a political analyst. Tech. Okay.
Actors involved.
And founder of Ahmed Baba News. 13,000 subscribers. This is just some random fucking news guy that started his own random fucking news channel. Hold on. Like 13,000 subscribers. He's not even a big guy. I guess he had Don Lemon on. Yeah, this is just a fucking small-time news channel.
Blaming right-wingers, anti-woke people, YouTubers, anyone they could think of. And now it seems even more obvious, if it wasn't already, why this show's getting canceled. Nobody watched. They tried to appeal to the modern audience, and that's what they got. The modern audience. There is an allegation out there, a report, that less than 40,000 people watched each Starfleet Academy episode. Ladies and gentlemen, just wrap your minds around that. There will likely be more people watching this video than the average Starfleet Academy episode. And of course, with 10 episodes, the total views for the entire first season is around 400,000. That is painful, and honestly it makes a lot of sense when you look at the latest involving the change.org petition trying to get a third season of this show, because it has roughly 40,000 signatures. The modern audience, ladies and gentlemen. But things get even worse. Now you have actors from the show saying they're sad about the show getting canceled and that they have all these episodes left and they're just bummed that this didn't work out. Which is very funny to hear because just a few days ago, the same actor came out and said they're vowing to make season 2 gay as F and to go out in flames and to be even louder and even more annoying when it comes to representing his character.
Who is this? Matt Thomas. Matt Thomas. The sffggazette.com. SFFG. Gazette.com. The Mary Sue or Kotaku. Yeah, they are one of the right wing versions. Science fiction and fantasy. The problem I have with a lot of these anti-wokers is they pull from articles that no one reads. I'm trying to see, where's their about page? Endymion famously likes to talk about, they don't even talk about who they are, though that I'm pretty sure. Members, reviewers. At Wargaming Dad, I'm in the waiting room. I've been covering a bit of the Starfleet Academy and written a few articles on the Fandom Plus about it. Let's go. Come on in, EGAD. Here, I'll share screen with you, even though there's not anything.
So
Hey.
Hey, what's up? So what happened with Drinker? I caught little bits and pieces of it, but
So it looks like a little over a year ago, Matt Dinneman said that he regretted bringing Drinker in for the short voice acting session that he did for him, and that he was that they were already redoing the books anyway, that his voice was going to get taken out. This was said like over a year ago. He mentions in the a Reddit forum that he talked about that like he had people coming up to him constantly at events and things like that, and that I guess he had kind of changed his mind about Drinker. He said the guy who was doing the voice acting, Jeff, is the one who said, "Hey, I know this guy who can do a voice for the drunken dwarf. He's just Scottish and drunk persona."
Mm-hmm.
And Matt said that he didn't really know who he was, but he thought, okay, 500,000 K YouTuber, it can't be bad for business, right?
Right.
And I don't think it was, even with it being Critical Drinker. I guess he said the stuff he did see back in the day was more of Critical Drinker's funny reviews and things like that, but not the anti-woke stuff. I haven't looked far enough back into Critical Drinker's history, really, on there.
Yeah, they never really like name exactly what these guys say. I'm not a fan of Critical Drinker. You know, obviously you see my videos on him, but I do get frustrated when these people just say, "Oh, I didn't know he was like this," and it's like what? Like, can you describe what exactly the problem was? And they can't really name anything. They can't really like. It's just like, oh, yeah. So they
I mean, it's a common
blacklist
trope.
people for, yeah. But
Well,
the
usually
Starfleet
what
Academy
happens-
stuff is crazy.
go
Like, I think they got Red Letter Media. It's the most recent one I saw was Red Letter Media put something out, and now I think that's what Rev is kind of jumping on. That's the trend. Is the Red Letter Media is a little closer to the ground on some of these things, and they basically had a take on it, saying, "Hey, the viewership was really low."
Yeah.
Like and so now everybody's coming out in droves because Red Letter Media kind of gave them the go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Vincent said he called him an edgelord douchebag, is what Matt called him. So Vince Suffa. What's going on, Lucian? So yeah. Where did they? I'm trying to see if I can find the article. Then, like, where did they say there's? I guess a source brought it to them. I don't know. I don't know Red Letter Media. A lot of these media groups, I don't know too much about.
Well,
Drinker's not
what's
even
his
an
name?
edge lord.
Mike
Yeah.
Mike Stoklasa, the guy who runs. Well, I guess he's the head of Red Letter Media. He
Hmm.
is a big Star Trek fan, and he and
Gotcha.
Rich Evans both do a lot of Star Trek reviews. And it was just one of their more recent ones where they were just talking, and it was kind of like an offhand remark where they were just saying, like the views are I think I just knew it was abysmal. It was like 400,000 or something like that.
No, they said like 40,000.
40,000? I thought I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't remember if it was 40,000 or 400,000, but in any case, it was just absolutely abysmal for
Mm-hmm.
the budget for that show, and yeah, and now because it's unpopular. See, this is the thing is they're attacking it because it's unpopular, but they're going to say things like they're going to do the whole signaling thing where it's the oh it's because they're gay and they're all, and I think that does kind of factor into it. But
Well,
Rev
it
really
didn't
doesn't
like.
believe that stuff. Rev doesn't believe that stuff. Like we've seen what he what kind of degenerate stuff he's into. So he doesn't really. It's just because it's unpopular. That's really what it is for them.
Yeah, yeah, 100% is well, and that happens with so many things nowadays. Where like Marathon is a good example, I think, where it had the controversy, so it was unpopular. It's Bungie, who's already kind of a
Right.
hated name in gaming around Destiny 2 and all that stuff, so they bring it up. But if you look at their numbers that they like to prove, things are going bad. And this is a common thread you see. In the morning, I always see a post that says Marathon is doing poorly. Um,
Mhm.
and it's always in the morning because that's before people are waking up in the United States to play. But if you look at the game, and the game's not doing, I don't think it's doing as well as they wanted it to do, right? It's probably pretty clear on that it's not
You've
doing as
played it,
well as it
right?
wants to do. Yes, I have, and in fact, I my brother-in-law has been talking to me about it, and he says he's a normie guy, and he says that it's like once you understand all of the mechanics of it and things like that, that it's actually pretty good. We
Yeah.
had some complaints about it because the server smash that we went into didn't have, it's limited. They always have it very limited. They don't want to release everything. Um, but otherwise, I think it's pretty good. And the stuff that he's describing in it is the comparison they make it with. The comparison they like to make is Arc Raiders, right? But if you look at
Yeah.
the game, the way the two games work are completely different. Arc Raiders really fits to a more normie audience because it's really focused on the PvE, right? There's still people complaining about rats to this day, like wanting them to do something about it, which I'm sorry, that's like a traditional part of an extraction shooter, which is what they made.
Yeah.
Marathon though kind of is outside of like the aesthetic and things like that. It really is a more traditional extraction shooter. They actually made one player games like in Tarkov where you can go be essentially a rat that goes around. You come in halfway through the match and you can just pick up whatever is left over and fight other people as they come in. um, One of the big things that makes it different is it's got that Destiny feel to it where you can, the way you upgrade your guns and get it to do different things is through upgrades. And a lot of this isn't me getting to play deep into these. A lot of the things I'm hearing from my brother-in-law. On
Mhm.
top of it, it's really puzzle driven in some cases. Like they put out this cryo level where basically 6 teams start out on the cryo levels in separate rooms, and you have to do things to earn security clearance to get to a further room that'll have a boss, and then into the main room where everyone goes into. And while you're doing it, you're collecting things to uh, unlock certain portions of it and different stuff like that. So they have something unique here. Like I said, I don't think it did as great as they were hoping, but it's steadied out. The line is flat, right? Not completely flat, but it's pretty flat now. Uh, though today it looks like it is a little lower. yesterday, versus then and there. But what happens is these people like to go, oh look, there's only 13,000 people playing. This is a dead game, and then it goes back up to 33,000 during peak hours. It's kind of the same instance where they're signaling things and using false information.
I think it's because Bungie hasn't really done themselves any favors by some of their more recent games, and I think that poisoned the well. Like a lot of people are just set on whether or not they're going to like something before they play it, and I think this was one of the cases of of that. Even though it's good, it's Bungie, and then people are like sore on Bungie. So
yeah, it also has a learning curve to it. Like it's not a get in and understand how to play the game. You have to learn how everything works and they don't do a really good job of onboarding people, as you would say, for it, which is fine. You don't have to if you want people to learn, if that's what you're looking for on your thing, for your game. But anyway, let's get back to Star Trek. So you've probably been following it more than me, but I'll tell you like my initial normie takes when I saw the trailers and things like that for it is I was like, it really doesn't look like Star Trek. And in saying that, I still think Star Trek is one of the more progressive shows, the old ones and things like that. Yes. I mean, there's, it kind of always has been. I was a Star Wars, not Star Trek, but yeah.
If you've ever, you familiar with a YouTuber? He's not really a YouTuber right now because he got kicked off because he said a lot of really, like he talked about, Israel and Jews and things like that. So you got kicked off of YouTube a long time ago. But he did I think it was a 16-part series on Star Trek recently. His name is American Krogan. And and he talked about exactly what you're saying was the basically it was a very progressive show, very I would say very not like with to the level of wokeness that a lot of people talk about today. But it did have like these proto woke elements to it that were in you're in this new show. It's more. It seems to be written by people who don't watch Star Trek. It's funny. The people who don't watch Star Trek are not really familiar with it. So you get things like you remember in Deep Space Nine, they're all playing baseball in a simulator. Yeah. And but they're using like a real baseball bat, real baseballs, all that stuff. It's just it's been replicated. You can use the replicators to make all this stuff. But then you get to Starfleet Academy where people are playing sports and they're using like holographic frisbees or holographic balls, and it's like these people don't understand Star Trek because people would never create holographic items to play with. They would create real items because they have replicators. But the people who are making the show are like, oh, we need to make it look like it's sci-fi, so it has to be holographic and all that. And they just don't. It just doesn't.
It didn't look like Star Trek-y, so it probably didn't, like what you're describing. It doesn't feel Star Trek-y. Damage Sector. The reason that EGAD changed to the current profile is that these white people are being erased from media, and he wanted to show that he is a strong white male who will not stand for it. That's what he told me.
Oh,
I'm just messing with you.
No, but there's other stuff that they're doing that doesn't make sense. Like they have a Klingon in the new show who wears a dress and doesn't want to fight. So they're just doing the subversion thing. Like, hey, this is a Klingon, but he's not like other Klingons. He's homosexual and he wears a dress and he doesn't want to fight. Instead, he just wants to use medicine on people. And it's like, oh, so that's his character. And they have
identity. Wow. What a new concept.
Right. And they have they also have a holographic character who's supposed to be like the Doctor from Voyager. But she doesn't make any sense because the show can't really decide whether or not like she's actually a hologram or whether she's actually a person, because there's some stuff that happens in the show like someone will aim a phaser at her and then she'll be like, oh no, don't shoot me, and it's like, well, why are you worried about getting shot? Like, you're a hologram. Like, he's not aiming for your emitter, like the mobile emitter. They're just things that are inconsistent like that. And it's just there's inconsistencies and And they had really weird stuff like Holly Hunter plays the captain of the ship, and her, but she's completely like disrespectful to everybody. Like there's a scene in I think episode 3 where she's walking around the starship barefoot, and one of the guys comes up to her, like one of the officers comes up to her and says, "Hey, we have regulations. You actually have to wear your shoes on, or your boots rather, while you're doing this." And she kind of does the woman-splaining thing where it's like, well, the electrolytes and something else like that, it's healthy for you to go barefoot on. And it's like, did you not just hear? Like you're supposed to be a captain and you're walking around barefoot on the ship, and you want your cadets to be respectful or respect authority. But it seemed to me that they were trying to do certain things like make characters more aloof, not really respectful for authority, because it's like, well, we want to appeal to the Gen Z who are like that. And it's not going to. I mean, we can see the ratings. It's not going to work like that.
It's not helping, right? Well, it's a like complete misunderstanding of the audience that you're even trying to get to, the Gen Z audience and things like that. I don't think most people understand it, because even in the term where like I'm a Zennial or millennial, depending on what year it is, it seems to push back and forth. But I wasn't like, when I was called a millennial, I was like, I'm not the hipster guy that's doing, gentrification and green energy. And I don't think that's like, there's always a caricature that gets attached to these different groups that isn't really a full representation of what they are. What's going on, Kaz? Welcome.
There was some other funny things, like there was someone who wrote an article about how he thinks most of the show was written by AI, and it's partially because some of the dialogue is really weird, like some of the point. So if you've ever used AI, sometimes AI will make points of comparison that don't make sense because your brain doesn't immediately go to those points of comparison. So there's a few of those in the show where someone will compare one thing to another, and you're like, what is that? And someone says, oh, that's probably the AI like doing that. But they also do things like, you familiar with the Next Generation, the Deanna Troi at all?
I don't remember much about it. I watched Next Generation, but no, I'm not. I don't remember any of it hardly.
Okay. So I'll tell you this briefly. In Next Generation, Captain Picard, he had his number one. He had Commander Riker on his right side, and on his left side he had Deanna Troi. Deanna Troi was partially psychic. I think she was half Betazoid, and Betazoids are a planet of telepaths. So because she's half Betazoid, she's not like a full telepath, but she can feel like emotions in other people. So there is a Betazoid cadet in the show. So she's alien, right? She's not from Earth. She's alien, and in part of the show she meets a cadet from Earth, who's, by the way, this other cadet from Earth. He's a black dude, and guess what his background is?
He's from the streets.
Yes, exactly. He was so then that's why he's a cadet, is because it's one of those things like you have such potential. You don't want to be doing this. You want to be a future doctor. That's basically what they do with him. And he meets this Betazoid, and they start to like flirt and everything. And he makes a joke. I can't remember what the joke is, but it has to do with like an accent from Earth, right? So he makes that joke to her, and she laughs at it. And I'm thinking of the writer's like, why would she laugh at it? She's not from Earth. She doesn't know what Earth is, or what these Earth countries are, or what these Earth dialects are. So like, why would this alien woman laugh? But it's like, if you were a good writer, you'd catch up on that, but they just never did. So it's just there's little things like that, here and there. A lot of substance abuse in Starfleet Academy as well. A lot of substance abuse.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not. We're talking about like the military force of the Federation. That's so crazy. It seems like and this thing happens all the time, right? Whether it's whether it's like The Witcher or any of these other things, the people don't actually really care about the source material. This happens it's happened back in the past before with, like the famous Dragon Ball Z movie. Uh, the actors and directors and writers in Hollywood don't want to copy and paste someone else's art. They want to make it themselves, but so and so has hired them to do that. So they just throw all shit to the wind and do whatever the fuck they want, and you end up losing uh viewership. You end up not selling well. You end up losing the actors that were big pulls to the series.
Yeah.
It's just something common that always seems to happen amongst here. Just
Oh,
now
and
the flavor of the week
speaking
happens
of
to be
speaking of actors, they brought back the Doctor from Voyager.
oh
So
really.
so the Doctor from Voyager is one of the characters in this. Um, one of the initial jokes, again, the writing, this is how you know it's AI writing because it doesn't make sense, is so the hologram woman comes up to him and she says, "I swallowed my comm badge," and his response is, "Already?" And it's like, and you think, wait, one thing doesn't follow
What?
another. Like, is this a common occurrence? Is like, and how did a hologram swallow a comm badge? And like, blah blah blah. It's dialogue like that that doesn't make sense. But so the explanation for why, by the way, since Robert Picardo, the guy who plays the Doctor, is old, he's a lot older now. So instead of de-aging him like with CGI or whatever, they basically have him play himself as an older guy, and his explanation as a hologram is, "Oh, I put a subroutine in my holographic program to make me look old." So
It's like the laziest way to try and do it too.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that would just doing that to begin with, knowing he's a hologram, bringing someone on who used to be an android or a hologram just to put their face on the show to give some name to
Mhm.
it always seems like a bad choice to me. Uh, Even with the CGI stuff. Now I soyed out a little bit when they brought back Luke in
Ahsoka
the
or Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mandalorian. Ahsoka, people give a lot of hate for the Ahsoka show, but I don't mind Ahsoka as a character, and it's one of my daughter's favorite characters too in Star Wars, and I don't really
Oh,
mind the show
I
itself.
understand that too. Actually,
Yeah.
that's actually why I think she was put in the original Clone Wars. Was like,
Hmm.
if kids were going to watch this, I don't think kids would take to like an older Anakin and Obi-Wan like doing their thing. So they're like, we need a younger apprentice, and so I think the kids got attached to Ahsoka.
Yeah. And everyone hated her because of how annoying she was. But if you really look at I think they did a pretty good job of building a character for her over that show and into where she's an adult now. But that's my personal takes. We're getting a little
Yeah.
off topic.
Well, to go back to Starfleet Academy, Robert Picardo and a few other people from the show have been going back and forth with several other folks, so that fans on X, including John De La Rose, by the way. John De La Rose has been like going back and forth with Robert Picardo a whole lot. Robert Picardo, like, what's funny is Robert Picardo basically said is, if you don't like our show, make your own story or your own book.
Oh God.
And JDA actually did that. He actually wrote his own, like, he called it Space Fleet Academy, but he actually has a book out called Space Fleet Academy. You could buy it. And so he created his own book. But Robert Picardo, and not only Robert Picardo, but also Kate Mulgrew, the captain from Voyager, was also she was also like telling fans, like, you need to there's all these celebrities. It's not just like Star Trek. It's just one celebrity after another. And we could see this with the Supergirl trailer recently too. Is like people like complain, they don't like it, and then you get these celebrities that come out and say, well, you're not a real fan, or you need to accept like what you're giving you. Just all this back and forth. Everybody just hates each other.
Yeah, it's become so AIDS under that thing. Like it's just as annoying to me that when the actress or actor or whoever comes in and tries to say the same, oh, it's all because these guys are uh anti-woke grifters and things like that. And it's like, I agree with you with several of the people, but your response is just as retarded crying over it. Your
Yeah.
show didn't do well because by the sound of this show, it wasn't good writing, may have used AI and didn't go into it, didn't actually dig deep into it to, fix the story. Um,
The only
it,
worthwhile character was Paul Giamatti, but that's just because Paul Giamatti's a good actor. Like he played his part really well. And it's funny is he's the villain, but like even though they tried to make him the villain, it's one of those things where it's people writing the villain, they don't really know how to, but so they actually make him more compelling than the good guys because he's because you don't like the good guys,
Yeah.
so you're like, yeah, I really like this guy.
Oh god, at Wargaming Dad, you should make EGAD watch the Birdman Supergirl video. We can watch that actually, because I don't want to listen to Rev anymore. I think we've gotten to a pretty good thing talking with me and EGAD about it. Please no. I have my
What was
problems with the Birdman in
what
a
was
lot of
Rev?
ways.
So yeah, so I guess Rev was talking about Critical Drinker and this stuff, but yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking about was like Rev just seems to be following whatever the trend is, and I guess that's what you do on YouTube.
Yeah, well,
I felt these, yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious when you listen to him here. We'll listen to some of this part
By
right here. That
soy
he didn't read into this whatsoever, because this whole statement that uh, I'm guessing it's John who wrote this article. You may know, but it just kind of reads like something what John would write. And
Yeah, it's either John De La Rose or John F. Trent. One of the they
one of the
both
two.
like yeah do the heavy
Yeah.
contributing, but I think John De La Rose wrote this one. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to listen to Rev anymore. It's a monumental task for anyone to listen to him for an extended period of time. John used AI to write his notes. Yeah, I know he does. It's why I give him criticism, because I've asked John on the show before, like, hey, why don't you get on and talk, right? Even being really amenable, which I'm not usually very amenable with a lot of these guys online, right? And I have, huge problems with John and the way he does it. Uh, but he gives me a story. He's like, I'm writing 10 books a day, and my thing is like, okay, you're writing 10 books a day, but are you writing good books, right? Are you putting time and effort into the book, or are
Oh,
you just writing into a
he's
script
probably
for
being
AI?
a little facetious, but so
Yeah.
what he's using when people say he's using AI, he's actually using a language learning module, but do you know what it's learning from?
What?
His own stuff.
Really?
So basically, yeah, he's teaching the AI to learn based on his own writing. And at that, and there's other things you can do with learning modules, like you can create a storyboard, you can create you can do world building, you can do create character creation. And what's cool about some of the AI models that you use is they can kind of keep you consistent. Like if you do something with your story, your characters, whatever it is, and it contradicts something else, then the module will actually kind of tell you like, hey, this is a contradiction, or this is a plot hole, things like that. So it's
Yeah.
interesting stuff. Yeah.
Well, I have seen things like that. I was looking into, I use a program for D&D called, what is it called again? Come on now. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Why is it not giving me the name of it? I'm losing my mind. Obsidian. Obsidian is what I use. I use Obsidian to write my D&D novels.
Yep, I
Or
use
not
Obsidian.
novels. Yeah. So, and one of the things I was looking on there, like, I have a lot of negative connotations in AI, especially around the AI bubble, the way people use AI. But I do think there are good things. I remember watching a video on a guy who had attached ChatGPT to Obsidian, and like he was like he's writing the book himself, but he may say like, I need something to brainstorm. Can you give me, several ideas of around this subject, right? And he'll see that, and it'll give him a bunch of things and get his brain running. I think that's a good thing to do. Storyboard, yeah, could be a good thing to do. It all depends on how much AI you're putting into it, because AI is obviously wrong. Like it's getting proven over and over and over again that it's just terrible. It can't do basic math right. It can't it's starting to eat itself in a lot of ways, where
Yeah, if you use it over
ChatGPT is now,
time, yeah.
yeah, ChatGPT is starting to actually
What's it
use
called, by the
Grok.
way?
What's what called?
So I've seen this as I've used it, where it starts using whatever my prompt is. It starts doing it, and then maybe if I get like a few pages into the prompt, I start to see like the degradation. I start to see like it's not even like trying anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've seen like I was listening to some people talk about it, because it's an interesting subject that I've been watching, and on top of it, my 401k is attached to it. But basically, they said like ChatGPT is now starting to source Grokpedia for its information. So now you have AI sourcing AI for information that's being searched on the internet. And like one of the things I like to show is I was going over the free speech stuff, and if you type into Google, are threats free speech? The initial response you get, and that everyone's likes to use, is they're generally not protected under the First Amendment because they communicate a serious intent to commit violence, pose to the direct risk of individuals and safety. So people are like, no, it's not free speech. And I've seen this is actually better than some of the ones that I've seen coming out of it, and this is Bing, which is usually pretty terrible. But if you actually read into the laws on it, they're talking about true threats. And I'm not going to get deep back into it, but like the vast majority of like shitters online saying that they're going to do something to you is actually protected under free speech.
Interesting.
But yeah, oh, absolutely. It's it was Williams versus the United States during the Vietnam War. Williams got up on stage and was at a protest against the war, said, "If they hand me a rifle, the first person in my sights will be LBJ." And he was arrested for it and convicted for it. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court found that there was no intention behind it, and it wasn't likely that it was going to happen, so that it was protected by free speech, and charges were dropped, or his conviction was dropped, I guess. So yeah, there's nuance to freedom of speech that most people don't want to look at. But anyway, but yeah, AI I think is going to be more and more of a problem just because of the way they're working with it. Thanks for that ramble, Kaz. I think it has uses. I absolutely think it has uses. Though there was a study recently with Harvard that said that like 95% of AI that replaced people's jobs is failing, and they've had to hire cheaper foreign labor from overseas to help the AI catch up or to replace the AI. So many companies are starting to drop a lot of it. But anyway, AI rant over. AI legit gives brain rot. Yeah, there's things talking about the usage of AI psychosis and links to AI slowing down brain activity. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that's out there for it. But anyway, we'll listen to a little bit of Rev. To get back to this situation with the Dungeon Carl area and how I don't know why he went into Star Trek with it, because it doesn't really seem that related besides saying woke and gay. At ChatGPT, how do I get my wife and kids to love me? Oh man,
that's what I thought was the Star Trek thing. That's what I thought what he was talking about. I think I think this is downstream of Red Letter Media why this is happening, because I think he interviewed. So here's what, from what I know, this is what happened is the guys who, or it was Andy Weir. It was Andy Weir or somebody who was said that he was turned down for not Starfleet Academy, but whatever the next Star Trek iteration was. And yeah, I think Alex Kurtzman, the guy who made Starfleet Academy, is the one who turned him down. And Andy Weir, which is kind of amazing because the movie Hail Mary is doing really, really well. So because of that, it's like, so we got Hail Mary, that's doing really, really well. And the guy who made Hail Mary turned down for doing Starfleet Academy. It's like, damn, dude, like, and look at the way Starfleet Academy is going. So why would you turn him down?
Yeah, Vincent said he said that on Critical Drinkers stream.
Okay,
actually.
yes. So that's why I think Critical Drinker is getting that attention.
Yeah. And that's why this stuff from way in the past got brought up. But you can clearly tell that Rev hasn't really looked into any of this. He's just
Right.
saying the words. So we'll listen to this
YouTubers trying to call him a chud that is cancer to work with, but also he's getting canceled from authors like this on your screen right now.
I'm so over the term canceled. It just means nothing. Most people who say canceled have never been close to being actually canceled. Usually people getting canceled is like some normal person that shit got real on the internet for, and armies of people went to their jobs and other things like that. Like you getting your sponsor. Well, I don't agree with going after sponsors. A sponsor deciding to drop you after some stuff comes out, and people have said it is not the same thing as a guy who said something on the internet randomly on his personal account not connected to his business, and people go after him and get him fired, right? Very common in the old 2016 era.
He's getting canceled. Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here.
God damn it, I keep hitting the buttons on the side of my mouse.
In response to this, we're blaming everything but the showrunners themselves and the actors involved, blaming right-wingers, anti-woke people, YouTubers, anyone they could think of. And now it seems even more obvious, if it wasn't already, why this show's getting canceled.
The people who actually got canceled were those in the wrong for doing something wrong. Maybe. It depends on the situation. Like there's a lot of people that were deplatformed for no reason. Twitter was famous for deplatforming right-wing politics people, famously doing it to Trump, even, where I don't agree that social media platforms should have a stance on that politically. I think they're too close. They're monetizing free speech. They should have some kind of, like, everyone should have some kind of protections. And people are always like, you can go off to another platform and say your stuff, but it's different when you have something like Twitter that was like is the largest platform for people to talk politics on, and you're kicking people off and sending it to one side, or sending them to these smaller channels like the dumb little right-wing social medias they tried to make. It's definitely
like Gab.
Yeah, Gab was one of them. Because I remember going over to one of them, being conservative libertarian, we'll say. Tectones is different. So Tectone didn't get deplatformed really. He actively had stuff like, and that's the difference. We're talking about like the normal people. Nick Fuentes broke TOS is what I would say happened there. So yeah, if you break TOS, there's nothing you can do. You have to play the game, right? The damage sector needs to go too. That guy sucks. Nazmir's over here trying to get me to block everybody. But like, I don't necessarily think that Tectone needs to be deplatformed because he's a pathetic rapist. I just don't think anyone should listen to him, and that's kind of what's happening with it. It kind of marks that with him going on the Side Scrollers podcast. Now, what I think has happened in the background, and there's no real proof of it, is that there's a lot of stuff that's been coming out about people botting and larger channels botting and stuff like that. I think YouTube may have looked at his channel and sent him a warning about botting or something, or we're talking about getting rid of his channel for it, because he did mention YouTube was going to nuke his channel. So like I'm never for deplatforming anyone for any reasons outside of some extreme propagandas, right? Terrorist organization propagandas, things like that, stuff that's actually harmful, uh, the normal stuff. But I don't think canceling should be done in most areas. I think it's gay that everyone uses it to play victimhood. Didn't Tectone admit to botting, or was that some other Twitch idiot? I don't know. Yes and no. I know there was that period when Twitch was like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna get rid of so many bots," and it like dumped a bunch of bots from all of their largest followers. And at that point, they kind of backpedaled, and then I think Tectone has been talking about it, but nothing like substantial, like, oh, I bought my account.
Canceled. Nobody watched. They tried to appeal to the modern audience, and that's what they got.
Well, I
The
mean,
modern
40,000 people watched. The modern audience is another buzzword that I'm kind of done with. I understand where it's trying to be used on the left side, where they say modern audience. It's the same thing that you were saying. They're trying to appeal
Oh
to
yeah, it's a curated audience. Basically, it's the kind of people, the kind of consumers they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're not getting actually the person who you really need to listen to who has it kind of nailed down is Kim Belair of Sweet Baby Inc. She kind of has the whole modern audience in her head. What she said was it's people who are not being given the kind of basically the content that they would prefer you have, where it has more representation, the DEI stuff. They have more black people, or they have more brown people, things like that, and they have fewer white people. Basically, that's kind of what they want.
Right. I have my theories on that. Like, there are obviously the extreme people that have that view with it, and they do want to erase it. Like, there's been plenty of people who flat out said it, right? I don't think that applies to necessarily every single group, and this is where I run into problems with um, a lot of the shows and games and things like that that the anti-wokers do attack. Is in some cases people are just making a game, and it's not the DEI fake representation. They are like what was the spear slur guy?
Spear Chucker.
Yeah, spear chucker.
I remember what you're talking about. I don't know the
Yeah.
name though.
Like in that one, they were saying like it's DEI mess, and I was like, well, no, the guy's from Kenya. He made a game based off of his people. Whether it was a good game or not really doesn't matter. He made the game off of the passion that he wanted to make, right? Uh, I'm with you on deplatforming people who have, or on, oh, not deplatforming people is what I think you mean, who have speech you don't like, but I feel those who spread misinformation don't deserve a platform. For example, the Candace Owens lying about someone being trans. So I have an agreement there, but I have a problem with that. And I'm going to make like, my question always is with that is who decides what the misinformation is? Because that's always a muddy subject. There are points that you can point out to certain things in individual situations, but then when you start getting people involved politically and different stuff like that, misinformation gets called out about everything. So who's in control to decide what's the truth and what's not when the world is very muddy on top of it? What do you say? Charlie Kirk being a time traveling Anakui who knew he had to have a Jesus Christ sacrifice to fight the lizard people. It's just peak. We can't ban that. I agree. The problem is it is up to the people who are getting into this content to do the research. And there's a argument to be made that most people can't do that, don't have the intelligence to do that. And I think there could be something that, like, you talk about community notes, there's a love-hate relationship with it, because sometimes it can actually hit with evidence of what the information is false, but then you have like the recent allegations of pedophilia and stuff like that, and people brigading it to get a community note that says, well, lolly is not pedophilia by the law standards, right? Yeah, most people are natural followers. They can't think for themselves. You're right. You're right, Mike. So we'll listen a little bit longer.
Audience. There is an allegation out there, a report, that less than 40,000 people watched each Starfleet Academy episode. Ladies and gentlemen, just wrap your minds around that. There will likely be more people watching this video than the average Starfleet Academy episode. And of course, with 10 episodes, the total views for the entire first season.
What's with these? Like, I haven't been a content creator very long, but I feel like there's a lot of these guys, especially from like older sects, that talk really fucking slow, and I have to speed it up. Like Smash JT is like a perfect example. I can't listen to him on anything but 1.5 or higher.
I would like to know actually, it would be interesting to see the demographics who go to watch them, because I wonder if it's people in my age group, and that's why they appeal to that.
Yeah,
I think Zoomers like things really, really fast. I mean, I prefer things really, really fast, but
yeah, me too. Well, even my audiobooks I tend to listen to on like 1.25 to 1.5. That's
I think
wanting to stretch the video out for ad revenue.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably another reason they did it. So yeah, just make sure that they get every last penny.
Mm-hmm. And they still do like the 15-minute things, but from my understanding of the algorithm, the 15-minute videos aren't like the standard for the algorithm anymore. There's actually, I guess, a bigger push for long form content or shorts, right?
Right.
Season is around 400,000. That is painful, and honestly makes a lot of sense when you look at the latest involving the change.org petition trying to get a third season of this show, because it has roughly 40,000 signatures. The modern audience, ladies and gentlemen. But things get even worse. Now you have actors.
This Rev, I don't think we have to listen anymore. God, I'm tired of it. Like he really is just a mouthpiece for these talking points, because I do think, like, I can agree with him. These we need a third season of this show when it's not making money things are terrible, but it's just as terrible as the Eve is getting censored ones that are out there. They're just retarded people doing retarded things. I'm sure there's 100 of these terrible petitions that are going around. Dude is reading a script. There's nothing wrong with reading a script. I mean, he's doing it for a video, I suppose, versus being on stream. But I mean, be unique with your script. Say something like, actually have an opinion other than just repeating the buzzwords of the day, right? So what was that video you said? Oh, Birdman. I'm gonna force you to watch Birdman. Birdman, the Birdman. Da, da, da. Like I said, I have my problems with Birdman. Me and you have talked about that, I think, on stream.
Yeah.
The Birdman.
Well, he is just pure like race bait. I think most of us I remember he did the Asmongold response, and the first thing he did was, instead of discrediting the guy that Asmongold was citing, basically by saying, well, this is what the actual study says, or, you know, citing the study and where the study came from and all that, the first thing he does is, this guy is racist. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's true, but is he wrong? It's like
yeah, it's kind of the thing that he does. He's one of those guys that it can be hard to listen to, because everyone's racist, everyone's sexist, everyone's he isn't race baiting. He is also wrong. He can be two things. Is this the Supergirl one? Exposing the grift, critical drinker whines about Supergirl. Boop.
Or the dipshit loser.
Let me put it over here so you can see it.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
They're grifters and parrots who are dying of thirst. But I think after releasing my first video on this topic, it's important to show my audience and those that come here to pretend I'm making things up about this guy, the critical drinker in unscripted moments. These moments are important because he can't hide behind a scripted video, and we get to see him, in real time, giving his thoughts and opinions on a topic that he has also written a review for, and to see how they match up. And as my previous video is important context for this one, I highly recommend, if you have not yet watched that video,
he's got a first one. Let's watch the first one. Let's go. 2 videos.
He couldn't wait
25 minutes.
Yeah, that one's a little longer, but we'll get rid of this. Boom.
a single day before revving up
If
the
you gotta
grift
go, that's
machine.
fine too.
DC releases
good.
a teaser trailer for Supergirl, and this dipshit couldn't wait a day to jump on the hate train for something he hasn't yet seen. Literally, day 0, this was his tweet. An ironic one at that, as you have the critical drinker calling a drunk wearing glasses edgy.
So, I mean, this is a common trope that happens. It's becoming like a complete pattern for the Antiwokers. Something is shown. You can't even call this progressive, right? This is just, I mean,
it's he didn't really say much here. That's what I was saying. Like this is astroturfing. Like I said in my last video, this is just this is made to be reacted to.
Yeah, true. It is. And it's kind of the setup that always happens with these guys. You know, they see something, it's an initial, we've seen nothing else about it. It happened with Ghost of Yotai too. They showed the first picture of the main character, and they're a little bit right. The smashers and the gaming anti-wokers tend to immediately jump on the gun, where obviously Critical here is being a lot more selective in what he says. Yeah, I agree he's a clown. I've seen things from the Birdman that I think are pretty good evidence for how terrible Critical is as a reviewer and malicious things he will do. But again,
the critical drinker calls a drunk wearing glasses edgy. You can't make this stuff up. You know, I called this one instantly. This is precisely how predictable these people have become.
See, there's the problem. I guess he's probably explaining it now, but
these idiots come out of the woodwork.
I don't know what the problem he has
when
with
the
it.
lights go off.
He didn't. He
and
just
sad,
like
really.
So I don't know what his problem with it is. That's what he needs to do. He's like what did he say? Hang on, go back a little bit.
Yeah. Here, well.
Gee.
Okay, so what does he say? Hang on.
Edgy.
Okay.
The critical drinker calls a drunk wearing glasses edgy.
Okay,
you can't make this stuff up.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, what? I see. You can't make this stuff up. Well, it's like, well, what was the problem? Can see? This is why I don't get. Can you articulate the problem? See, I'll give you credit, Bergman, for whatever your complaint is, but you need to articulate it. I don't know what the problem is. Anyway,
maybe he'll get into it, but yeah, I get what you're saying there with that one.
Yeah. I called this one instantly. This is precisely how predictable these people have become.
Like, I don't think it's even fun to call a drinker a bigot. He's just a bad critic. Yeah, and that's the problem with a lot of the people who are around here. Like, when we get into I'm coming in war to translate. Here we go. Let's go. The problem with a lot of the way people fight against it, and, you know, Birdman's one of the worst ones for it, is you call him a bigot, you call him racist, you call him all these other things. And with Drinker, while his takes are terrible, I don't know that I would ever call him racist for it. Now, you can get into the people like Smash JT. While I don't think Smash JT is racist, what he's doing is performative racism when it comes to like Indian people and things like that, which is a problem online, which I think it's okay to call him a racist if you want to. But he's not even like a good racist. He's literally just doing it for clicks and views.
Yes, if they're lying about their views on this, they're just pretending to. They're pandering to racists is how I would do it. That's my problem with the Birdman. He's calling them liars. They don't know what they're talking about. even you don't know if they're bigoted or racist. But the point about that is it's ironic. The critical drinker who plays a drunk, who wears sunglasses all the time, is criticizing. That's the point he's trying to make there. He gagged.
Mhm.
He gagged. Okay.
Let's go back to what he said.
Yes,
Let's go back.
that's literally it. Okay,
before revving,
it's
and
not
this
something he
gets
directly
Sonic one
says.
at that.
He said, well, see, here's the thing, though. He didn't say anything but so edge, much cool, wow. Right?
Oh, I
but
get it.
To the next
So-
point. Next to the next point.
I probably okay. So I guess he could have set it up a little bit better there. He goes, the way I would have done this is like the sunglasses,
you don't see her
drunk and all
drunk.
that.
You don't
Yeah,
see her drinking, but later on you'll find out she goes to this planet so she can get drunk.
Oh, I mean, I
The
would
setup
have set this
is a
up a
little
little
off.
bit different. Yeah, I would have set
Yeah,
this
I
up a
agree.
little bit different for what he did. Like, yeah, I can get why he's saying that now. It's this is look in the mirror, critical drinker. You're wearing sunglasses and drinking. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
I don't want to be that guy, but this wasn't that hard to understand.
This is why I jumped in. Okay. I can understand why you don't understand the Birdman. I've
The
watched
critical
enough of
drinker
his videos.
calls a
Yeah.
drunk wearing glasses edgy. You can't make this stuff up.
Well, I would
You
still
know-
say that critical drinker probably considers himself edgy too.
Does he?
I would think so, with the way he does his content. I mean, I don't know that he's ever flat out said it, but a lot of these guys consider themselves edgy, right? I'm just a little edgy online. I'm not racist. That's kind of the trope. Like I said, I'm not gonna put
maybe
those words
faux
in his
edgy.
mouth,
Okay.
but
Maybe faux edgy.
yeah, a lot of them consider themselves from that time.
No, I called this one instantly. This is precisely how predictable these people have become. If a superhero project stars a woman or a minority, these idiots come out of the woodwork like roaches when the lights go off. And it's sad, really. These people and the parrots that follow them have such miserable lives where literally everything that releases is out to get them or hurts their feelings in some way. Only the cynical grifter has something to show for it, as he makes
So this is Gunn didn't write, direct. Watch that trailer again, son. I love their cope. Yeah, he even rewrote and reshot the Flash just because he ain't credited doesn't mean a thing. What? This looks sick. Good to be James Gunn. Amazing. You're the person upset over a film that is coming out no matter how much you bitch about it. Are saying we are the ones coping. So I agree with him on that. Like they seem to only go after. I don't think it's like I said. I'm always skeptical to call people bigots, but if you look over the recent time, because I think DEI has started to become such a dry zone in a lot of ways, and I think it's still very progressive in Hollywood, and it probably always will be. That they do tend to attack more things that don't really follow that woke ideal. It's just a woman on the screen or a black person on the screen. At least in the gaming sphere. Like I can't really talk too much about movies.
thousands of dollars whining, which of course only makes the people doing it for free even sadder. Anyway, let's hear what he has to say.
I don't care if people monetize their stupidity. I go to the circus to watch a clown. He gets paid. That's all I got to say.
This movie is a wacky, irreverent adventure about a dysfunctional, loose cannon protagonist with a love of dancing and 1980s pop music who uses snarky humor to mask their inner pain and turmoil. They're not your typical superhero, that's for sure. But when they get embroiled in a world-ending conflict, they're forced to team up with a group of likable misfits. They're not your typical superhero team, that's for sure.
Wait a
Is he saying that the Terminator is a superhero team? I think that's a little that's a bad comparison.
minute. Isn't that just your tweet, but reworded slightly? I mean, I knew you were a lazy hack, but come on, make this difficult. Both this soliloquy and your tweet are completely wrong, but in order to prove this, I must first explain Woman of Tomorrow. The new Supergirl film is based on the comic book Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, an 8-book miniseries by Tom King. Remember that name, it'll be important later. This story is told from the perspective of Ruthie, a young alien girl on a planet with a red sun who loses her father.
Her name is
to the
Rufy?
space-
That's a very good point.
Oh, I wonder if her full name is Rufalin, or if, Rufy for short.
He's like, really? Is this a joke?
I guess not.
Maybe it's Tom King. Do you know anything about Tom King?
No.
It'd be funny if they drug her and knock her out at some point in the comic. Or if she drugs and knocks out someone else.
Yeah, that's her
Well, it is
superpower.
about Supergirl going to
That's her
get drunk and getting
superpower.
taken advantage by men, it seems like, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Oh, she can drug people's drinks from across the room.
hills. Ruthie, being a young girl, sets out to find someone capable of killing Krim in revenge for the slaying of her father, and happens upon a bounty hunter whom she offers Krim's sword as payment. The bounty hunter attempts to steal that sword, and a drunk Supergirl who is celebrating her 21st birthday intercepts the bounty hunter and retrieves the sword. Ruthie, enamored with and thankful to Supergirl, follows her and makes her the same deal, which she refuses because Supergirl doesn't kill people. Krim appears with the
second
bounty
video is
hunter
much
and tries
better.
to kill Supergirl and
Because it's
Crypto,
hilarious.
very nearly succeeding, because this planet has a red sun which slowly depowers Supergirl and is why she came here, so she could physically get drunk for her birthday. Crypto is poisoned by Krim's arrows, and only he knows the antidote for the poison. Krim then steals Supergirl's ship and now
Why are we going over the whole plot?
To be an asshole that the critical drinker doesn't know the comic source material. That's what he's doing
Sure.
here. You can skip through
Okay.
all of this. Okay.
But
This is why the second video is better.
Here's my thing with
Extending
that. Like,
the
I don't
length.
have to know the entirety of like the Marvel universe to make a
Mhm.
comment on the Marvel universe, right? Or on a
Yeah. This
trailer.
is, he's
wait,
going uber nerd
this isn't-
mode, and I can respect it, but
This isn't Marvel,
yeah.
though, is it? This is DC?
This
right?
is DC, but
Yes.
that's what I mean
Okay, yeah.
in general. I said Marvel because I'm just like,
Well, I was asking. I
That's
didn't
a
even
joke.
know. I've
Yeah.
never seen this comic before.
hmm So yeah, I mean, you don't for any medium that's moving to a different medium, like a comic book moving to a movie, a book moving to a movie, back and forth. I don't have to know the entire plot of said medium to give. my opinion
yeah,
on
skip
what's
ahead, and it
happening.
will be relevant, and I can fill you in on any of the things you're missing to where
Yeah.
he goes over the critical drinker.
He might
thing.
even be your favorite character in the story. Now, back to
Let's
Drinker's
speed it up a
tweet.
little bit, too.
He's characterized this trailer as a wacky space adventure about a dysfunctional hero who has to partner up with a quirky band of misfits. Now, dear viewer, what part of the synopsis of Woman of Tomorrow that I just explained is a dysfunctional hero partnering up with a quirky band of misfits? There are two.
I mean, she's definitely a dysfunctional hero. She was getting drunk on her birthday. And it seems like, at least through the trailers, that is going to be kind of her personality on there.
You're making a lot of assumptions. 21st birthday, you can't get drunk on Earth. You lost your parent. I think it's more about being depressed. Okay,
Sure,
she's
but when you watch,
he's
the
going to
initial
explain
trailer-
it. It's pretty much. She lost her parents. She had to do a lot. She's
Well,
still
sure,
mourning,
that's-
so she goes to get drunk for her 21st. I think the setup
mean-
is fine enough.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is,
I
when
don't
you
think
watch
calling
the
it
trailer,
dysfunctional.
when you watch the, well, that's
Got
she lost her parents and she's drinking to cope with it. Yeah, that's pretty dysfunctional. That's pretty common dysfunctional trope. Veteran who went to war and now he's drinking his sorrows away, puts down the bottle to become a hero. The drinking to cope.
But she's
over
never
other things is
gotten
that
drunk
way.
before. How can you be dysfunctional if you're trying to do the one thing? She's also young. She's like, I've never been drunk before. If she's came to Earth and she's seen other people get drunk, she might be curious about how to deal with it. It's not good what she's
Sure.
doing, but
But
I don't think
when
it's the
you're
level of
looking at-
dysfunction yet.
But when you're looking at the trailer itself,
A trailer.
you're watching
Yes,
the trailer.
uninformed. This
The
is all
impression that the
about
trailer is giving is very much that she's a dysfunctional drunk, right? It even has the main picture that we're talking about of her is showing her hungover, essentially. Like it's very much what a person that would be hungover would be. So you can make assumptions about what the trailer is trying to convey with the characters. Like I don't even remember if it
But
showed this main
what should
character
a
girl.
movie reviewer do that? That's just sort of the point about this. This isn't talking about an average person, an average just looky-loo. The fact that Critical Drinker prides himself as being a good critic. This is the
Yeah.
premise that at least the Birdman attacks him under. That these people are not good critics.
Well, I mean, I agree that his
He-
take is shit, but
Yeah.
because he is
I think they
jumping to
put too
huge
high of a bar
consumptions, but
on
assumptions,
this and not realize that people just go to Critical Drinker because they think he's funny and he owns the libs.
well, he says the message, right?
Two protagonists in this story, not Supergirl partnering up with a band of misfits. Supergirl isn't dysfunctional. She came to this planet in order to celebrate her birthday, and because there is a red sun, she's finally able to get drunk. In the comic, the reason she does this is because she's still mourning the loss of her mother, father, and Krypton, something the trailer actually shows. Also shown in the trailer is Kara suffering from a hangover, another thing lifted directly from the comic.
Yeah, it's pretty even from what he's saying, it's pretty dysfunctional that she wants to get drunk because she is mourning her parents. Drinking is generally seen as a negative way to deal with mental health issues. So yeah, it may be her first time getting drunk, but it's in a negative light, and it's pretty much been shown through the trailer that she's fighting with those. It can be a good character thing. I'm not saying it's bad, right? Like, we really don't know. It's that it's a popular trope, and I like it in a lot of media that I watch, but it's still the first opinion, whether his opinion is biased or not, of the show that I could have gotten from it. Like I can still see what Critical Drinker was at least saying about the dysfunctional part of it.
Where
Now, obviously, he didn't. He may be lying when it comes to, or maybe misrepresenting or not understanding the story or the trailer where there's a bunch of misfits. I'd have to rewatch the trailer again. All right, Mike, we'll talk to you later. Yeah.
Where in that trailer was it shown that this apparent team of misfits are taking on a bigger threat? Krim, while dangerous to regular people in the story, is literally no match for Supergirl and has to use a magical orb to BFR her. So you see, so far, nothing of what Drinker has said about this film is accurate to the trailer or the comic book this story is based on. This is because Drinker does not know what he's talking about, has no knowledge of the source material, has a child's grasp on marketing material, and is so fucking lazy that he won't even do the bare minimum to understand why certain things are being shown to him. It has been known long before this trailer even dropped that they would
I
be
agree with
adapting
that. I think that's a good criticism, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think that's his appeal. I don't think I don't think a lot of people who watch movies nowadays really notice a lot of the things that are being put into them. So they just kind of like, maybe subliminally they do, but yeah, most people are stupid.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You talk about like horror movies, a lot of really good horror movies, and even some really bad ones. A lot of horror is really based around very dark subjects that are written into the background, like, mental health disorders. It might be a story of a ghost, but there's a lot to do with like mental health disorders, sexual assault that isn't shown in the thing, but there's a representation of it. Those things are in there, but most normal people watch it and don't really notice any of that. They're just like, cool ghost story.
Yeah, actually, those things in media actually are up. Probably because of Dark Souls, the sort of lore sort of drop. Most people won't go to all the clues to figure out the story, so they go to the internet. It's the sort of mixed media market we're in now.
Yeah, for people who are interested in that.
King's comic book. Here, I'll prove it. This is a screenshot of Wikipedia's entry on the film from July of this year. You can clearly see they stated this film would be an adaptation of that comic book, and this was the time the Critical Drinker was complaining about Superman, saying it wouldn't surpass $600 million. So it should be clear to everyone here that he did not do his due diligence and is pulling things from his ass in his strange crusade against James Gunn that has seemingly come out of nowhere. To harp further on this point, he's blaming James Gunn when this film is written and directed by people that are not James Gunn, something he later acknowledges in this video, but still blames James Gunn anyway. And here's the hilarious part. Remember when I told you to keep the name Tom King in mind? Well, this is Tom King, the writer of Woman of Tomorrow. If you zoom in, you might start to notice something a little strange about this Wikipedia page. And it's this passage where it clearly states that Tom was brought into DC Studios to be one of the architects of the DCU. So the writer of the story this film is stated to be based on is heavily involved with this film, and when you watch the trailer seems to be lifting things directly from the comic book it was based on that this man wrote. And Drinker still blames James Gunn. The same James Gunn that explicitly stated it's important to him that the writer...
Well, generally what happens is you go for the biggest target, right? Like, no one's going to know who these directors are, writers, whoever you want to say.
Tom King is notorious in Comicsgate circles, I believe.
Well, I'm not saying King. I was about to preface it myself. I mean the directors that they were showing for it, right? So James Gunn has his name on it because he's the new.
So wouldn't that be
DC
dishonest of Critical Drinker to focus on him?
No. I'm not saying it's not dishonest. I'm just saying that's pretty much the MO for it is they go for the bigger target, but otherwise no one would care. If he said the director's name, whatever was up there, no one would give a shit. No one would watch him anymore. But when you attach James Gunn,
and I don't understand the James Gunn hate. Do either one of you guys know that? I'm lost on that also.
I don't know, because he was pretty well liked for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, it's more the what they call the millennial writing or the millennial humor, where it's almost every serious moment has to be undercut by a joke. So there's no moments of sincerity, like no moments of true sincerity. Like there'll be some impactful moment, and then suddenly it gets cut off by someone telling a joke. The best component comparison I've heard is Craftian, who said, like, imagine you're at a funeral, like you're someone you love it died, and everybody's like doing, but so after you buried the body and after you're walking away, imagine one person in your funeral procession says something like, "Well, I'm glad that wasn't me." Like,
so
if it's the right character, it can be pulled off. I agree.
It's basic. Yeah.
I agree. Gunn does that, but he generally does that within the characters. Okay,
well,
he does it within the
character
archetype.
Right. But his big claim to fame was, one of the bigger movies in the DC universe was a movie that was based off of that, right? The Guardians of the Galaxy was this weird comic that no one had really heard of from anyone outside of comic books, and that's kind of their whole thing in the comic book world, which is great when you have, like, it's a great movie for Guardians of the Galaxy, but then when it's spread to the rest of Marvel where everyone's doing that, even the serious characters, it got pretty annoying on it. And then
but if you find moments within a Gunn movie that actually does that, which is really rare, you have to do, I think it comes down to Superman, the reboot of Superman, which they went really hard on. From what I hear,
the reboot of Superman didn't do that. I don't remember there being a bunch of quirky jokes in it. Maybe like one, but it felt to
they
me,
had to stretch for that.
Personally, it felt to me like a more traditional Superman. But that's just my take on it.
And directors of these projects give their own self-expression to those projects. The same James Gunn that stated he's giving those artists the freedom to create what they want to create, and that he likes when things are tonally incongruent but come together in interesting ways. That James Gunn.
The 8 to 10 year arc is, a lot of what DC is, and the fun for me really is in the world building, not just the story building. That's, DCU is, I don't think of DCU as being, this is a story we're telling over multiple films and TV shows about one big bad. I don't want to have to do, as an audience member, to do the homework, to have to see every single thing. It is more of a connected universe that.
Well, that's pretty much him saying, like, he's trying to not do the Marvel thing, right? Like, Marvel started off like very separated with hints towards each other. The after credit scenes. But then it became so intertwined that you have to watch like this obscure TV show that you didn't want to watch to understand why this character is in this movie. So it sounds like
Without
he's trying
large
to,
expedition dumps.
yeah, large expedition dumps and things like that to under. Well, sometimes it didn't even do large expedition dumps. People were just like, why is so and so here? What happened in between there?
Exists within one place, which is the DCU, which will have differences depending on who the artists and the directors and the production designers that are making the shows.
Which will have differences depending on who the artists and the directors and the production designers that are making the shows.
Boom.
Our gang have to learn to put aside their differences and work together to save the day, and along the way, our main character finds a new surrogate family in this crazy group of outcasts, and learns that sometimes the real heroes are the friends we make along the way.
So this is a very common phrase from Critical Drinker. He likes to kind of pretend that every single show or movie that he watches is this very context, when in like a variety, like movies tend to bring like multiple characters together. Even you look at some of the more manly movies that are out there, like he showed Terminator, right? Terminator brings, by that statement, you could use that same line that he said and go, a badass robot goes back in time to find to save, you know, John Connor, a quirky little boy who is rebellious, and finds a family along the way between him and his mother, and it's really about the journey that they had together. I mean, it's a pretty basic phrase to explain anytime. Yes, movies have multiple characters. They tend to grow together in some way. It would be really boring to watch just one guy do stuff in a lot of cases. There could be there's some that have done it, but normally with story, you bring in multiple characters, and sometimes they find friendship along the way, or even love.
So are we getting any criticism from EGAG yet?
Oh man, I've offered a little bit, but he hasn't really gotten to the meat of everything yet.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, well, he really doesn't. In reality,
After
it's
everything that I-
just point after point. It's a rarely like debunking point by point.
Mhm.
I've just told and shown you, it should now be very clear that this guy is a moron that doesn't know anything about what he's talking about. His grasp on marketing material is amateur at best, and it's clear he immediately hopped on a microphone the second this trailer dropped to drum up hatred on a property he hasn't researched in the slightest, which is incredibly irresponsible when you have an audience.
so I've criticized Drinker for that as well. I think that's where the grift comes in, is he doesn't really need to. I think it's gotten to a point where Drinker's channel, and there's a lot of other channels who function just like this, where everybody kind of knows what their opinion is going to be, and the audience even knows what theirs. So it's not about accuracy. It's just about how, like, this is another piece of Hollywood slop that we need to signal against, and maybe we'll watch it too.
Yeah.
That is measured in the millions. It's obvious that he was going to dislike this property no matter what it did, and that's why we've got
there you
tweets
go.
of Drinker unknowingly making fun of himself before that trailer even released. Hey Drinker, that drill bit isn't nearly long enough.
You know, it's interesting how a movie that was, officially at least, neither written nor directed by James Gunn is somehow shaping up to be the most James Gunn movie that ever James Gunned. I don't know how else to say it, but the trailer that just got released yesterday is basically a comprehensive checklist of every tired, played-out James Gunn cliche from every superhero movie he's ever made. There's the dog to kick things off, because there's always a dog in a James Gunn movie, because everyone knows that putting
I mean, people love dogs.
a cute furry animal in your movie is pretty much the quickest and laziest way of speedrunning your way to audience sympathies.
This is what I mean.
By the
A
way,
very
he will say, Drinker will say all this, but he employed this stuff, and he kind of tried to justify his employment of this stuff in his own movie.
Oh yeah. It was a terrible movie. I remember watching like towards the end of it when they're doing like the big fight scene. They've got a woman who's definitely doing like badass girl boss stuff and what's supposed to be like a more realistic, gritty shooter, and then an RPG lands right next to her. Something he always does is talk about realism in things, like saying that fire can't be in space in Star Wars, and she just gets flown across and has no marks. Yeah.
hastily written script that is simply inaccurate. First of all, what do you mean a dog is always in a James Gunn movie? Do you mean non-cameo dogs as a main or prominent character as Crypto is in the DCU? Because there weren't any in Slither, just random dead dogs that were mutilated by the parasite. Those were about as prominent as the dead cows were. How about the Belko experiment? Were there any dogs in that office building where the story takes place?
Nope.
What about Brightburn? Were there any prominent dogs in Brightburn?
He killed the dog.
Nope.
Oh, that was only a movie produced by James Gunn, not written and directed by him? Well, so is this one, so that has to count.
Yeah.
But he's talking about superhero movies, right? Well, was there a prominent dog in The Suicide Squad?
Is this thing a dog?
A dog?
Yes.
What kind of dog do you think it is, mate?
I don't know. I'm not
You're
familiar with all
wrong.
the
That's
breeds.
definitely a
Okay,
dog.
fine. There are some dogs in some of the movies, but they are usually not
Of
prominent
course, you would
characters.
say that.
Let's keep going.
How's your
Got the
dog doing?
obnoxious use of 19.
Which one?
The one that's a pig.
I have 2 pigs, so they're doing great.
You mean dog, right?
Yeah, I mean dog. Nah, that's a pig.
1980s pop songs because, by golly, James Gunn sure does love his classic pop music.
That song was only in the teaser trailer, and we do not know if that song is going to be in the actual movie. This is the Doylist-Watsonian dichotomy, where we on the other side of the fourth wall are seeing and hearing things the characters within that story are not. Again, this was a teaser trailer. The song that plays in the actual film will in all likelihood be something completely different to what we heard in the teaser. You know, because she's on an alien planet with a red sun. I'm not entirely sold on them having 1980s American music playing on
Yeah,
a planet.
this is where I'm like, the Birdman does these little quippy things, like most likely a different, like, just give him the point. Give him the point. Why bother?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a disco ball coming out of the sky. If you want to say, like, that's kind of weird for an alien to have the exact disco ball we would have had.
away from Earth. And newsflash, James Gunn does not have a monopoly on liking or using 80s pop music. Music from that era is extremely popular and is used all the time because it's recognizable. Atomic Blonde's trailer used 1983's Blue Monday. Kick-Ass's trailer used 1981's Bad Reputation. Ready Player One's teaser had 1981's Tom Sawyer. I mean, Thriller is played every single Halloween, for fuck's sake. It's entirely possible that the director of this film, who is 58 years old and was a teenager in the 80s, also loves 80s pop music and okayed its use in this trailer. Let's keep going.
And also because after being forced to listen to Kate Bush on repeat in Stranger Things like I was trapped in some kind of Guantanamo Bay torture session, I've developed a thorough and abiding hatred of this lazy, cringe, nostalgia-milking bullshit. It's not cool and quirky anymore, it's just fucking tired.
Another ironic criticism from the critical drinker, a guy that...
What would you expect out of a show that started out as like a 1980s nostalgia fest? Is it going to suddenly stop doing that? Like that was the show. That was D&D coded with all the, you know, the music and everything from that era. He's trying to act like this show that was set in that time was overusing the theme of the show.
literally whines that modern movies aren't like the 80s movies that he grew up with. But I guess this time it's different. Because...
Anyway, it's time to introduce our main character, Kara. She's not your typical superhero though. She's a drunken, cynical, messed up party girl who likes to cut loose and do her own thing. She's definitely not here to live up to your expectations, that's for sure.
Girls get it done.
Again, this is Drinker failing.
I don't think that was a good example to use. I guess he's just using it for the meme, but like all of those women are broken as fuck.
To have done any due diligence on this film or the source material the film is based on. Once again, Kara travels to planets with red suns because she's a Kryptonian and she cannot metabolize alcohol while on Earth. So for her birthday, she's having a little fun, and clearly she had a little too much fun and is hung over. This is damn near directly lifted from the comic. You know, because the guy that wrote that comic is one of the architects of the DCU.
You know what? Who did a really good breakdown of the trailer was Disparu. And he actually kind of addressed this, and he basically said that whoever made that trailer did not do a good job representing the movie.
The show, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I got the first impression, I definitely had the idea that, like, yeah, this does seem like she's the drunken, you know, player. And even when she shows up in the end of Superman, doesn't she? If I remember right.
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
she
it
has
does a little
that same
cameo.
like personality that you're seeing. So now I've seen her in Superman in her hungover outfit. Now we're seeing the trailer of her, drinking with the suffering from family things. I think that's a valid thing that he could have come up with from it. Now, like I said, the other part of it where he's talking about the quirky group coming together and finding it seems like he's just making shit up at that point.
Girl is a little depressed because she lost her planet and is still grieving. Something, again, from the books and implied in this trailer. I mean, why do you think they're showing her on Krypton? To show us her origin story? Oh, you mean yet another thing from that very comic book? I wonder what they're trying to communicate.
She's played by Millie Alcock, who turned in a great performance in House of the Dragon, and I'm sure she's going to do her best here. I mean, she's not exactly statuesque like I'd imagine Supergirl to be, but whatever. It's not like we'd expect her to do crazy stuff like work out in a gym or anything.
That's because you don't know shit about Supergirl. This is how she appears in the book this film is based on. Not exactly statuesque or extremely muscular, but I digress. All she has to be is taller than Ruthie, and considering the actress playing Ruthie is 4'10" and Millie is 7 inches taller than that, this works perfectly fine. Besides, wouldn't your ridiculous audience dislike a muscular female character? Don't the people that follow you call anybody with a six-pack manly? I mean,
again, this is what I was saying earlier. He goes, if he's going to talk about a subject like her, he likes to hit that realism note for people. Like, oh, why isn't Supergirl muscular? She's supposed to be this huge, strong superhero. But the point of Superman and Supergirl is they're aliens that get extreme power from the sun. Superman could probably still fucking wreck most people as a fat ass just because of that power he gets.
Yeah. Or fat Thor. Sorry, that came into my mind.
This is the Supergirl your audience has been pretending to know anything about. I see two things, and they aren't muscles.
But she looks fine as the drunk, out of control
Let's go for super boobies.
party girl who's going through a midlife crisis at 23 for some reason. Oh my goodness, it must be such
They
a drag
need
to be
AI
young and
for
hot
that.
and superpowered. Can't imagine how you cope with it.
Once again, Drinker betrays his own audience by failing to know anything about what he's talking about. Again, from her perspective, she just lost her planet and her entire family besides Clark. Supergirl's history takes a bit of explaining, but the short version is Kara Zor-El is older than Kal-El. Kal left Krypton as a baby, and Kara left as a teenager, but her ship got stuck, and she was basically frozen in time, similar to Captain America. So she's older and younger than Superman at the same time. This means, although over 30 years has passed since the destruction of Krypton,
That sounds a little pedo.
for her, this tragedy was recent,
course you
and
would go
therefore
there.
she is still grieving. This is very likely why she likes to get drunk, but she can't do that on a planet with a yellow sun, so she's here on a planet with a red sun. Notice how Drinker, instead of investigating
One thing that Birdman does that kind of gets on my nerves is he keeps pushing like the same point over and over again, right? We've gone over the whole why she's gone to her birthday party or to get drunk like over and over and over again. It's kind of annoying.
why the trailer
Well,
is showing
there's the
it.
rule of 3 that I like to follow. If you go over 3 times, I haven't been keeping count, but
Will the fairies come down and make it so?
it's a general rhetorical technique. Like
Yeah, it's
repeating
also
something over and over again, but if you do it too many times,
Right,
you
there's
got to hate
also-
Mauler then.
There's
Mauler
also,
is
like,
the
traditional,
king of that.
There's also traditional it's a traditional folklore thing too, right? That the fae, the fairies from like European culture, you say something 3
Christianity
times, they
also,
have to-
well, the
have to perform
Catholics,
it.
the Trinity.
Well, it's because a lot of stuff in like later Christianity in Europe like Christianity is very famous for me being even a Christian. Christianity is very famous for pulling things from other pagan cultures because there's this knowledge of, hey, you can't just come in and preach that they need to change their ways. You had to mingle and
Why do you think there was saints?
them.
Okay, Saint Patrick. They use the saint system to bring pagan religions, sort of integrate, make it easier for them.
Yeah, true. Well, I don't know that I would use Saint Patrick as an example because Saint Patrick, what he's known for, removing all the snakes from Europe, and the snakes were the pagans.
Yeah.
He was pretty brutal a guy.
They're showing rushed out to make this video and chose to be misogynistic, suggesting that a young girl couldn't possibly have issues because she's young, powerful, and attractive. What the fuck is this dude's problem?
Quirky, pseudo-retro science fiction gags? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Because clearly when you have the ability to fly and travel through space, a bus is the natural choice for getting around.
Again, these scenes are lifted directly from the comic book, and in that story, she's losing or lost her powers due to the red sun. This is why she needs a bus to travel, because on a red sun, a Kryptonian is basically a normal human. This is how stupid you are. You think they're showing Supergirl on a bus for no reason. You could have simply taken another day, investigated why she's taking the bus, and this would have never made it into the video. But instead, you get to be embarrassed by me. You should be honored.
Actually, why the fuck does she even bother wearing a trench coat when she's basically immune to temperature? Oh right, that's why.
I'm not going to keep repeating myself about the star of the planet she's currently on, but I will continue repeating that these are things lifted from the book.
Oh, I mean, and trench coats are cool. That's just kind of something that makes it into a lot of media, is someone in a trench coat. It's like brooding. Trench coats were cool until that one thing happened.
The story is...
Some people think they're still cool, but we don't talk about those people.
I won't wear a trench coat, but I don't mind a character who wears one. Like I said, the book one of my favorite series is the Dresden Files, and that's kind of his thing. Is he?
Oh, very nice. I was just thinking that myself. Harry Dresden.
Yep.
Did you read the last book or listen to it?
Instead of reading the new book, I decided to start from the beginning and listen to the whole series again.
Oh God, that's painful. Good luck with that. Sorry, the first few books are pretty bad.
The first two are, yeah, they're pretty rough. The third book, Grave Lies, is kind of where he starts really cooking with it. But anyways, if you haven't tried it, go check out the Dresden Files. Really, really good series.
It's based on a book. She is wearing the trench coat in the book. In your haste to tie this element to a movie James Gunn made, you forgot that Supergirl is a comic book character and her wardrobe is based on her design in a comic book.
Time for a fight scene, I guess. Let's assemble.
You know, and I was saying the things about, what you get from the trailer and stuff like that. I do have some agreement that Critical, if he's going to talk about a video game movie as a reviewer, he should at least give some knowledge to the credit to the do some research on the source material. You don't have to spoil your whole self on it, but you at least need to know the basics of what this is about, right?
And a lot of the talking points is true to the source material. This is why I think he's harping. This is from the fans. If you get into Critical Drinker, he's willing to wave that down, but it's still in his underlying criticism, respecting the fans.
Yeah.
Or a group of accommodating stuntmen to get the shit kicked out of them. But don't forget to work in that snarky James Gunn humor.
Okay, this does not look like this is gonna end well. For you guys.
Nailed it.
I will honestly keep repeating that these are things from the book, not something James Gunn invented. I'm not joking. I can do this all day.
Who even wrote this shite anyway? Anna Noguera, eh? Not exactly a screenwriter I'm familiar with, but surely she must have some pretty impressive accomplishments if she's been charged with writing a $200 million blockbuster.
This video's premise is that this is a James Gunn movie. But when presented with evidence that this isn't a movie written or directed by James Gunn, Will has elected to pick on the actual writer and shit on her lack of credits, instead of admitting his initial take was wrong. You can even see the purple hyperlink color on his screenshot, showing that he just looked this writer up while making this rushed grifter slop video, hinting that he added this part of the video at the last minute when he realized his fuck up. I also noticed Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, isn't purple. Because of course this motherfucker couldn't be bothered to even click that one. How do any of you drinker followers not feel disrespected by this? He's putting in your face how much he doesn't give a fuck about you or providing you with accurate information.
Well, I would guess that most drinker followers don't read the comic books that are coming out with this as well, right?
Yeah, they probably don't care. They probably just watch the movies. Like, I don't care much about the comic books.
True. Now, I get interested, like when Marvel was really first starting to come out, and I was seeing a bunch of characters that I didn't know that were, outside of the norm. I have a habit of going and looking up lore and things like that. So it was interesting to see, the different takes in comic books, but that's not the average person.
But
They
you're a
just wanna watch the
nerd,
movie.
okay? You are old school nerd. These guys are chuds coming into nerd space, bullying all the nerds. Okay,
Yeah, Kamoji's
literally,
got
that's it.
Kamoji's got it dead on. Drinker's followers probably don't even watch his own videos. He's second monitor content.
You're
True.
probably right.
Let's take a quick look at our
Okay.
IMDb page, shall we? Oh. Oh.
Cool. Now, how about we have a look at yours?
Anyway, it doesn't matter who wrote it, the end result is the same. I am fucking tired of these movies, man.
Yeah.
The forced humor, the overbearing music, the desperate attempts to be edgy and different, the visual diarrhea that looks to be 90% green screen, the predictable plot points and story beats that you just know is going to be shoved into the standard James Gunn mold because that's literally the only thing he's capable of producing now.
You know, there's a little known solution to the problem of not liking something, and I was told this by my grandfather, who was told by his grandfather, and now I'm going to share it with you.
We
It's
love
called
millennial writing.
Don't watch. If you don't like something, don't watch it. It's incredibly difficult, I know, having to stop yourself from getting in your car and driving through traffic and opening the
I
door
don't
to the
like
movie
that.
theater. And
I don't like that slogan. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Well, how am I going to know I don't like it if I don't watch it first?
Yeah, right. Even if I have a bad, bias to it, if I'm doing reviews, right? If I'm critical drinker, I'm barely able to get up out of my chair because I've been drinking whiskey all day, and not even good whiskey. I'm gonna have to eventually get up and drunk drive to the movie if I want to talk about it at some point.
Right.
And maybe I will like it. Maybe I get in there. Like some people who have the negative bias actually do get in there and enjoy it. It seems to be like with the Mario movie that just came out, that there's a lot of different opinions amongst the anti-wokers on whether it's good or not. Even some trying to throw in the woke anti-wokes normal stuff, while others are like, oh, it's good. I like the anti-wokes tried.
But don't you know
Marathon.
Disney get a pass by the anti-woke typically, unless you're Shadversity.
Disney? No,
I don't
Disney
think so.
doesn't get a
No,
pass. No.
Did I say Disney? I meant to say Nintendo. Nintendo.
Oh, Nintendo. Yeah.
Not completely. No, they've called different things within it woke. A lot of times they'll use a game like
What, like
one
the
of the
blob chick is trans in the fucking English edition, and there's a big
Yeah.
argument online. They're not even arguing half the time about the actual media. They're arguing about the argument online. This is
Well, and there was recently, I've seen ones people talking about like pulling up stuff where there's like a bisexual pronoun or they them, right? That's the one that's kind of started to make it mainstream in the pronoun categories. There's a few Disney things that they'll throw it around, but yeah, I think mostly they know.
I'm actually supportive of the they them because it gets rid of the neo pronouns where they have crazy fucking, like, you get one category, guys. You can't be fucking fae or horse, like horse girl on Twitch. Okay, you got your one pronoun. Okay, your non-binary fucking pronoun. Y'all got to use that. I'm not going to learn all these other. I'm not going to have to ask if I don't know your sex, I'm going to call you they them. Okay, but I'm a she. Then look like a she.
I can't wait
Sorry, I'm a little
till furries evolve into plastic surgery. That's gonna be something else.
South Park already did it.
Yeah. No, but I mean more mainstream, not like the one or two weirdos that do it. Like full on, you see someone on the street that has gotten surgery to look like a fucking dog. The South Park Dolphin episode.
What, like
yes.
looks maxing? There's sort of look maxing. That's
Right.
what I was talking about, the South Park thing. Thank you, Kamoji, for getting that reference.
giving them your money
yeah,
and
look,
sitting
Max,
down in
in
a
the
seat for 2
bone.
hours. But you can do it. I have faith in you. You are a lot stronger than you look. And yes, I am including that quadricep muscle in your forehead.
There's a word that keeps lurking in my mind whenever I think of James Gunn films, and that word is sincerity. Not because they actually possess it, God no, but because they're so completely lacking in it that it actually feels they're taking something away from the audience on a fundamental level. He's the movie equivalent of an insecure teenager who's so scared of being mocked and ridiculed that literally everything he says and does has to be cloaked in a protective shield of sarcasm, cynicism, and ironic humor.
Once again, Will Jordan, the critical drinker, has failed to recognize he is criticizing himself. I mean, listen to what he said again, then watch a random drinker video with all the stupid movie clips of poop and vomit jokes. This guy is a living SpongeBob meme.
You really can't get invested in anything or anyone in a James Gunn movie because it all feels like a setup for one big joke. And well, I think people are starting to feel it.
Are they? What evidence do you have for this claim? Because from everything that I can see, audiences love James Gunn directed movies. He literally doesn't have a single miss according to the audience, unless you count Movie 43, which had 15 directors and doesn't really count. Hell, even your Superman review was rather positive. You know, for your standards.
For all Zack Snyder's faults as a
Yeah, I feel like James Gunn, even out of all the Marvel stuff, has garnered like a pretty positive audience. That's kind of why he got pulled into DC, right? Because even when all the other slop was pretty bad, Guardians of the Galaxy did well.
storyteller.
I know him from Trauma days, so
yeah.
There are many. One thing
he's not even a Hollywood director. He's an East Coast director. He learned on the streets.
On the streets.
Of his insincerity.
And he's
In the
white,
dirty
so
South.
that breaks the stereotype.
His films might be slow, bloated, self-important, dour and overly serious, but you can tell he's 100% committed to the story he's telling. And there's a kind of simplistic honesty in what he does. He's sincerely trying to show you who he is and what matters to him as a filmmaker.
What even is this nonsense? How do you know Gunn isn't sincere and isn't committed to the story?
Snyder cultists, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Snyder is just as fucking bad. Like like all these like really famous directors and stuff like that, I feel like their movies are all, a lot of times you can find the same scene. Obviously James Gunn has movies that aren't, but you know, you talk about like the quirky talking, we talk about slow motion in Snyder films and the tone that he always gives for everything, right? You look at the
Michael Bay explosion.
Michael Bay explosions everywhere. Like if you're watching a Michael Bay movie, you're going to get to see explosions and people walking slowly away from them. But also like with Snyder, it's, you look at, if I put the Batman versus Superman or even the Justice League next to that Netflix show that I thought was terrible, the space one that's trying to be the new Star Wars, and if you blurred it a little bit, you wouldn't be able to tell which one was different. They're all the same color palette and tone.
It's telling. Do you know the man personally? You are literally here making the case that a movie he didn't direct or write is still somehow his movie, but in the same breath, claiming he isn't committed to the story he's telling? If that were true, wouldn't that be a commitment to the story he's telling? This is how we know you're a shit writer, Will. Your conclusions don't follow the premise. At this point in the video, you're just rambling, and it's obvious this was only included to pander to the Snyder Bros to get them on your side in your crusade against this movie and this franchise, which again, demonstrates your lack of due diligence because you don't need to pander to them.
He might be right.
They do that shit for free.
We even run a...
I mean, there's probably some thought process in it, but I don't think it's going to bring in the Snyder Bros, right? Because they've called have they called the Snyder verse woke? I don't remember, but I feel like people like,
weren't they pushing for the Snyder cut?
Were they pushing for the Snyder cut?
Yeah, is that where the? I mean,
Someone
it's.
was.
But it's still just, it's an empty like assertion, because like do we know if Drinker is actually pushing for the Snyder Bros?
I don't know. True. You could go with that.
I think he's going a little vibes there. Okay, it does sort of detract from his sort of more substantial criticisms that he probably does hammer home a little bit way too much and makes his videos annoying.
It is an idea, like we'll listen to it. Well, no, maybe we won't listen to it again. It's getting late, but it's kind of the idea, like he's basically saying like this director is better, when this Snyder has been criticized outside of Snyder Bros heavily for the way he does movies and how there always seems to have to be a Snyder cut to actually tell the story that he's trying to tell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Superman versus Superman versus no, not Superman versus Batman. The Justice League was one of those ones where like people were like, this is terrible. It's not a good story. But then uh, the Snyder Cut comes out and suddenly it's amazing. Same thing with the sci-fi movie he made on Netflix. It was touted as
Rebel
bad.
Moon, I
He's like,
think.
yeah, Rebel Moon, that's what it was. But it's okay. I have the Snyder Cut coming out. Like, you're the guy who directed the movie.
I mean, back with Blade Runner, where there was studio interference, that can make sense. But I think even the director's cut had some weird stuff in it.
Yeah, Damage Sector. We've known that. I've talked to Kamoji about that too.
A poll on Open Bar a few weeks ago asking the audience if they preferred Man of Steel, a movie that's been thoroughly shit on over the years, or James Gunn's Superman by James Gunn, and the results were like 90% in favour of Man of Steel.
How very scientific.
I asked my audience who I've been training to hit this movie.
Man of
If they
Steel
hated
wasn't,
this
though.
movie,
Man of Steel was not very popular a movie for it to come out. A lot of people criticized it for
Oh.
its
Yeah.
realism. Like it didn't feel like Superman, right? Where James Gunn's Superman is very much the more traditional Superman. Obviously there's some liberties taken. I don't know what comic book it's out of, but I definitely looked at the James Gunn one as like, oh yeah, this is a Superman movie.
Yeah, when you see stuff like the one scene with the where, you remember where his dad, like, he says, "No, don't save me," because the tornadoes there. Like, that was so stupid.
It was like, you're literally Superman. You could
Yeah.
He could save you. Why are you killing yourself?
Yeah.
Well, it's to not give away his identity. That was the sort of thought process in there.
Yeah, Superman's
he
never
was-
had a problem moving fast enough to not give away his identity.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to disrespect the male father figure, I guess, is the next excuse. I don't know.
It just wasn't
It
a
is stupid.
well-told
Okay.
story from Superman. Like, I liked the idea of doing a Superman where it's more grounded in this, what might happen in the real world, where he's trying to save people, but the things he does is causing problems politically and other avenues, and like all the damage that was done to the city wasn't seen as positive. It's a cool idea. It just didn't work out in practice.
Will shock you.
Thank you, Boozed Banter. I could barely tell the difference. I nearly hit you with a forehead joke.
That's not an endorsement of Man of Steel, it's an indictment of James Gunn's Superman and everything that it represents. Because when you get right down to it, I honestly think most people would choose deeply flawed sincerity over polished duplicity. What I'm trying to say with all this pretentious...
No, they didn't. Like, Rebel Moon was like a flop. It was terrible.
Yeah, I can start seeing why he's saying virtue signaling to the Snyder Bros with that. I mean, I wouldn't have picked that up, but I can see it.
This bullshit is that this trailer made me feel weary, somewhere deep down inside whatever passes for my soul. It's too much of everything that I'm sick of at this point, and I'm willing to bet that I'm not the only one who feels this way.
Another zinger for the math there, Will. Does anybody else hate the popular thing? I can't be the only one, am I right? What are you, a fucking Redditor?
God only knows what it's going to do at the box office. If Superman could barely scrape its way to
Don't
$600
Redditors
million
usually like the popular
worldwide,
thing,
despite
though?
the...
Huh?
Don't Redditors usually like popular thing, though?
Yeah, maybe.
I usually think of Redditors as being very
Protective
against
of
people
their
like
brands.
Yeah.
To the point that they attack them. Yeah, I would think that statement is true.
The longest and most obnoxiously desperate marketing campaign in history, what chance do you think this fucking derivative, tired, played out abortion of a film is gonna have?
Well, considering your track record for predicting the box office looks like tour dates in January, I'd say Supergirl has a really good chance of doing whatever you say it's not going to do. And again, I'm asking you, as a critic, why do you even care about the box office of a film? Our job as critics is to talk about the quality of a media property that we choose to review.
He doesn't
It is our
realize
responsibility.
they are cultural critics. They get defended on cultural grounds, like as gets defended on cultural grounds. They all get defended on cultural grounds because they're not film critics, they're culture critics. See, I think this is where I meant the Birdman gets things wrong. Thinks they're movie critics. They're not. They're culture critics.
Yeah, and it's really easy to try and use the numbers to make it sound like right, because most people don't understand numbers on anything, right? The whole Steam DB idea of what a game should be hitting numbers for. If it's a game they like, 4,000 or 40,000 is enough to be a success, or selling 4 million copies is enough. If they don't like it, 5 million copies is not enough. It's this.
Why Smash was arguing with Colin over the numbers.
Yeah, and it's numbers. While it's nice to see things sell, numbers aren't like the major factor.
We need 6 million copies.
Yeah. Oh, you have to have 6. That's the successful number. But it's not. Or like an indie game that doesn't hit 100,000. It's like, well, no, or it didn't break like 2,000. Well, 1,000 concurrent players isn't bad for an indie start out, right? What is the metrics of success for that indie program? And it could be the audience, the people who gather around it in the community. It could be that they just make enough money to make their next game. It's not the perfect metrics that people like to pretend it is.
Ability to that audience to give media properties a fair and honest review so that those that follow us can make an informed purchase decision. We are not there to tell them how to think and who to love or who to hate. We are there to help them come to their own conclusions based on our own opinions after having fully consumed a media property. The problem is you're telling everyone that you're not a real critic and that you're a culture war ideologue that has taken a side and that you want this movie to fail, which betrays everything a critic should stand for. You are just a comment section troll that was lucky enough to garner a following.
Duty ethics. He's using duty ethics, having a strong duty ethics that if you're an online critic, you should actually follow these. I think that's Birdman's biggest flaw. I mean, he's got it exactly right. They're cultural critics, okay? I don't even think Critical Drinker wants to be a movie critic, but he's not anymore, okay?
Well, I think he wants to make movies, but he hasn't shown a lot of skill in that yet.
You sure he actually wants to make movies?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he tried to do out of his book. I don't even know if his book is doing well.
I think he's written more than one book, as far as I know. He's written.
He had a whole series. I didn't read it because it's not my genre. I read his last one because it was a genre I was interested in. It's above average, okay? It's very cliche, okay?
Well, it's pretty much he's trying to make he's just trying to make a Tom Clancy book is what he's doing. It's a Tom Clancy series. Will Jordan has authored the Ryan Drake series. It's even got the same like naming style.
The naming,
yeah. Naming
he's not incredibly inventive.
Yeah.
I mean, his Resident Evil knockoff was okay. It was above average.
So, but he's written 10 books
in that series.
Oh, that's a short film. So he's made 2 short films.
I think one was a proof of concept.
Is coming in 2026. No. It was not a proof of concept. He marketed it as the movie he was making. It was after things started getting into it that it wasn't going well that he started to push it as a proof of concept.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that. Sorry.
I do know some history on the drinker. All right.
Hey, do you like those sort of books? You should read them and give a review.
I didn't get big into the Tom Clancy stuff. I read a few. I mean, obviously I was military, but it just kind of becomes, it's one of those genres that it just becomes a repeat. A military guy in a situation with the government, evil, dark people on, whatever, both sides. I would prefer to read like actual recounts from actual, veterans and combat guys over really reading the stories. I mean, Tom Clancy was very successful, obviously, but it's kind of the genre is just kind of a copy and paste over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That tends to be the most popular. It's crap. The slop that people can attach themselves to.
Yep. So anyway, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you guys for coming on. Egad, Vincent Martin, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, you know the drill. Go ahead and like the video on the way out. Subscribe if you are new and you enjoyed yourself here. And we will see you on Monday and see what we can come up with, what slop we can enjoy.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter, everybody. Night.
Have a good night.